Yeah. OnChain Revolution, you're not bullish enough. OnChain Revolution, you're not bullish enough. Every day we steady looking at the market, and we gon' tell you how to get started. Chain abstraction, fear and greed index, always looking at price action. Broke on advance, you don't even gotta mention. I swap it in the DEXs, you're not bullish enough. Traded in the segs, you ain't trenching enough. We do that market recap. Too much Bitcoin, gotta go to rehab. Shizzy and Yagobi. OnChain Revolution, network in the art. Every day we go live, baby, you know where we are. We mention all the networks and the crypto. Need some more liquidity. Flipping and trading is the recipe. Too many protocols to count. I get high and I'm never coming down. Number go up, then I'ma say peace. Yeah, you thought that I was gonna leave. Yeah, we just getting started, man. OnChain Revolution. Every day. Bring the beat back. Eyes everywhere, gotta be careful with volatile meme coins. You can get some bread if you round trip it, then you gon' regret. All this information in my head. BYOR, touch grass instead. Nobody really knows how it's gon' end up today. Somebody gotta tell you what's happening today. I don't let the money change me, no way. OnChain Revolution, here to stay. Yeah, say I'm Sage, man. Voodoo 2 on the way. Yeah. Nicky's. Yeah. OnChain Revolution. OnChain. Hey, OnChain Revolution. Bitcoin not an illusion. Market recap, then I do a roll call. You're not bullish in the vocal. Look at the price action, chin. Yeah, send it to the deck. Yeah, sell it through the stack. Order knows the best. Too much Bitcoin, gotta go to read. If you end up bearish, gotta put the knee pad. Let me see the comments. Look at the fear and greed index. Bridge. Look at the chart.
Welcome back to OnChain Revolution. My name is Shizzy on the channel. We cover the entire Bitcoin crypto ecosystem. What's up, guys? We have an amazing show for you guys today. We're live for the OnChain Hour, and this one is going to be, it's going to be good. It's going to be good, I promise. But we have a lot going on right now. We have a lot going on, going on in the Middle East. We have a lot going on in the sky, right? So stuff's falling out of it. We have a lot going on in the U.S. here with these protests and riots, and there's a lot of uncertainty in the market, and the market does not like uncertainty whatsoever, and that isn't good. This isn't good for our markets, right? But we got Bitcoin kind of bouncing back today, sitting at 105,110 right now, and then you're seeing a lot of other stuff really get killed around it, though. You're seeing Ethereum down almost 4%. You're seeing Dog down 5%. You're seeing Tau down 5%. So a lot of bigger altcoins really getting hit, and the smaller ones, I mean, Gizmo's down 21%. I'm seeing Sui down 6%. I mean, it's a bloodbath out there. We're going to look at the crypto bubbles later, but it is not looking good right now. Everything is red, but it's Friday, right? It's completely fine. In my opinion, we got Saturday to kind of hit our bottoms, and then we got Sunday to bounce back. And then leading into next week, we might have a lot of good headlines. Some of those headlines might reverse the course of the last 24 hours, right? With war ending and stuff like that. So I don't know. I don't know what to say anymore. I'm still going by the M2 money supply, but you have to remember, Bitcoin is a hedge against government. It's a hedge against war, right? If we went to a Bitcoin standard, you couldn't really have a war because you can't print money. Wars need, printed money. That's how every war has ever happened, is because you're able to print money. And going to a Bitcoin standard actually eliminates that. So I mean, you can't print money when you're on a Bitcoin standard. So it's going to take a long time to get there. But I do believe, a lot of people are hedging against this war and going into Bitcoin. I think we're going to see that over the weekend, but could be wrong, but I could be right. But let's get the show started. Bringing my partner here, as always, Mr. Yagobi. What's up, buddy?
What's up? What's up,
man? How you doing today?
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling okay. Yeah, a lot of uncertainty in the world, but again, until my thesis breaks down completely and completely becomes invalidated, I'm okay. So I've been saying the past week and a half, I'm okay with ranging between the low 100Ks all the way to 111 5, even if it pushes that high. But I feel like in 2 weeks, if we're still kind of doing this, then I'm gonna be scratching my head a bit, right? But yeah, other stuff in the world, I feel like, you know, that's life, right? That happens from time to time. I think we'll get through this from an industry perspective here in the next week and a half. We'll see.
Yeah, 100%. You did say that a couple days ago. You were like, range between 102 and 111. And I was like, 102. And it looks like you're right, because we almost got down to that 102 number. I thought we'd never see days like that again, but I wasn't expecting a country to bomb another country and take out generals and all that crazy stuff that happened yesterday. But it did happen, and a lot of people sold down a lot of assets, and a lot of people are buying oil. Oil is up almost 8% today. But you are seeing a lot of stuff bounce back. You're not seeing any retaliation yet from the other side of that war that's happening. But that could cause a lot more uncertainty. So it's hard to say what's going to happen next. But definitely kind of waiting and watching. So
yeah, exactly. Just, I mean, for me, it's hold on to your convictions, remind yourself why you have them, and time will take care of the rest.
yeah, man. Well, let's take a look at that chart that we've been looking at now for a while here. We're probably down here now because this is not updated completely. So we're looking like we took a little step back here. We're a little further out than we should be. But as you can see, we should be going up here, but it doesn't mean we can't start now, right? So, I'm curious to see when Colin puts out his next chart and what that's going to look like. So.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it is kind of set up to follow it almost to a T here, but we'll see. Sometimes it doesn't. You can see in the past where the lines have crossed over, but it hasn't deviated too much. There has been some inverse situations there in the middle, right where your mouse is. But if that happens, it will kind of be like a magnet and eventually come back. That's why I'm okay, right? That's why I'm okay. And if it doesn't and it breaks down completely, well, we got to let go of this indicator, and I don't want to do that.
No, I love it. I love it. I don't want to leave. I don't want to stop looking at it. I want to look at it all day. All right. Let's kind of get into today's show. So our main topic of the show is Memecoin Launchpads are fading. We're kind of seeing Pump.fun. They're going to be doing their $2 billion token sell off, right? And what that's going to do, in my opinion, that's their exit strategy. I think they're going to be leaving there'll always be a Pump.fun, but I think this is where they kind of go build something, right? They take all this money that they've got and they start building something. Or maybe they take a huge payday and don't build anything. Who knows? But anyway, we are seeing those launch pads kind of fade away. We're not really seeing much from them. Our internet capital markets, the next crypto super cycle. So we're kind of seeing these new things pop up called internet capital markets. Could you actually explain what an internet capital market is?
So internet capital markets, you're right. It's something that has been thrown in as like a phrase, I would say, in the crypto Twitter, but it really started in late April, early May with the Believe platform, right? And I do believe that I believe, no pun intended, that it's going to be what bridges back to utility a bit, right? I could be wrong about that, but I would say the Believe ecosystem, if I'm correct, is kind of in that territory of maybe like November-ish, December-ish, probably November, of where the virtuals platform was of 2024. And maybe I'm off a little bit with that because, market caps, I'm just thinking in my head, right? So not a lot of people are talking about ICM yet, but people are starting to, right? And I saw on crypto Twitter yesterday or yesterday it was actually that people are creating DAOs now for ICM to try to put together these portfolios. It reminds me of Vader, right? Vader was that, kind of that investment DAO portfolio. So, and the cool thing about it is they're using actually agent AI hustle to get the picks, right? But they want to make sure they fall into that ICM category. So this is starting to be a thing. I hope it's correct because I hope I got into some of these tokens a little bit early, and if that's the case, then we could see some decent gains, right? But the one thing I do think this could do is bridge back some hodl culture, because now you're looking more into utility. And the one thing I think everybody can agree upon, if you're a Solana trencher, then you've been through it, right? And you can see right now that the meme sector isn't really hitting like it was 2 months ago, 3 months ago, 4 months ago. You're not seeing those daily runners like you were, especially in the beginning of this year, right? That stopped, and if maybe they last half a day or a day max, and so people are starting to look and constantly refresh the Believe X account, because they launch, and once they launch, they show them right then and there. But yeah, so that's basically what ICM markets is. Basically an opportunity, right, for if you have a legitimate business idea and you're looking for a flywheel type system for you to launch a coin on this Believe Launchpad. And I imagine there's going to be replications of this on different chains, kind of like what happened with Pump.fun. And so what you do is there's a 2% fee that's charged by the Believe platform
marketplace.
And they give the creator 1% of that. So that's where your flywheel comes into play. So you earn creator fees. So if you're a startup and you've always struggled with trying to raise runway, this is one way to do it. And for you to be able to collect on those creator fees, you have to be legitimate, meaning that you can't just launch it hits bonding, and then you disappear, right? So you have to be consistent for a certain period of time, then you can start collecting your creator fees. But the whole objective, in my opinion, is if you're really serious about your startup and you're really serious about creating a business, you want to keep that token trading activity going, because that's going to be your flywheel that keeps your runway going, right? And it keeps that runway you can utilize for marketing, you can utilize for building, you can utilize for growing your team. So in my opinion, I think this is a great way to at least try to bring utility back into the picture and get that hodl culture going again.
Yeah, I love this, because a lot of these apps and stuff, they're actually projects again, right? I love Dog, I love meme coins, but it's nice to kind of get back to a utility area where you can kind of bet on projects, bet on companies, right? And that's where the real money is going to come into. They're not going to come into projects like these newer meme coins, maybe Dog, like maybe some of the top ones, Fart Coin, Dog, and stuff like that. But it's not going to like really kind of push our ecosystem forward like it would if it came into stuff like these newer apps and actually give people a runway, like you said. I mean, that's huge, especially for newer projects. I mean, we work with a lot of teams, obviously, right? And a lot of them, they're looking for VC money. But what if you didn't need that? What if you can get that from people just trading your coin or getting a percentage of the volume that your coin's getting? And I think something like this would be amazing for Bitcoin, because one, you potentially could get paid in Bitcoin.
Yeah, for sure. And you can actually decide. Okay, so here's the deal. You just broke it down perfectly. You get the people that get into your coin that actually believe what you're building, right? They believe what you're building is going to be useful in the future. They believe that you're going to be able to generate revenue. And that's where kind of the cycle of they're trading the coin, you get that 1% of the trading fee. But in the Bitcoin ecosystem, I think this is going to come. The ICM markets are going to come over here. Now you're earning that 1% in Bitcoin. Now, I saw some people that some projects that launched on Believe and earned like 190K within like the first 2 days, right? Imagine that you could do that in Bitcoin. Now you're like, okay, half of this I want to keep for my strategic Bitcoin reserve, which would be cool to say as a startup, right? And then 25% I'm going to use for marketing growth, and 25% I'm going to use for team growth, or whatever you decide to do, right? Maybe you do a 25% for buying back the token, so you guys can have a little bit of control over time. So that's why I think this is a really good idea. I do have to give credit to Ben Pasternak for building this and kind of flywheel. But I'll say it's tough in Solana because so many of these traders and people that are buying into coins are so pre-programmed for this Pump.fun meme, dump on you, dump on him type of culture. And so they're trying to really integrate different mechanics, right? For one, they started to integrate an anti-sniping type of mechanic into launching with the Believe platform. And so we'll see if this is something that can thrive on Solana, but maybe it does even better in a Bitcoin environment.
Yeah, no, I think you do really well in a Bitcoin environment. The problem is we need smart contracts, right? Whether that's going to come from something like Arch, something like Middle, something like Alkanes, right? I don't think it can happen in layer 1 runes, for instance, right? But who knows? This could be possible with Alkanes, especially when they get their DEXs up, and stuff like that. So, but definitely with Arch. I mean, Arch is a copy and paste from Solana. I mean that and say that if you have a project on Solana, you could potentially use Rust and basically paste it in to Arch, maybe make some changes to go with the Bitcoin stuff. But like, if you're a project and you I mean, potentially, I mean, you can use ChatGPT if the code's open source, which I think most of them are. I mean, you could potentially grab this and put this on Bitcoin, Arch or Middle.
Yeah, and one of the reasons why I do think Believe is probably going to pick up some momentum even more is that they built an app for this, right? So you can go to the Apple App Store, download this, and it's a marketplace too, right? So
Yeah.
now if you're a normie and you're like, I want to get into crypto, but I don't want to get all these meme stuff. Solana is like so dangerous over there. You go over to the Believe app. Those are established projects that have at least gotten past this like 150,000. There's a
Yeah.
lot of information on there, right? So it might be a go-to for some normies to feel a little bit safer in the future, because I'll tell you what, like Solana needs safer, because it is the wild west. It is the Ethereum of 2021, right? 2020, 2021, right? Early days. And then BSC and all that stuff just basically copied it, right? So if Believe can do this, then that'd be really great for the Solana ecosystem. But also, like I said, I would love to see this, mechanism for a platform in the Bitcoin ecosystem, whether it be on Arch, whether it be on, like you said, Alkanes, or maybe a layer 2 scaling solution or something, right, to where the smart contracts can be integrated.
Let me give you a little pushback though on something that I thought about. So let's just say I'm Liquidium, for instance. Shout out to Cash Cats. He says utility project Liquidium might play. Let's say you're Liquidium. What if you just take your Liquidium and then you take Bitcoin and you put it in LP on DotSwap? You're earning fees, right? The same way, right?
Yeah, but
So what's your comeback to that? I'm just curious.
my comeback is that like Liquidium can do that because of their name and how much capital they probably have to be able to do that. And because
Yeah.
the demand has to be there for the token for you to earn.
Yeah.
Right. So that's my pushback with that. So if you don't have a name in the game, then this is a way to kind of get established right off the jump. Right. Because we know, like, whether you get the funding or not, you can have a great idea. This can get you jump started, but we'll know, I think, after the first 3 to 6 months, if that project, whoever's leading it, is going to have the right mentality and management skills, right? Because it comes down to burn rate. If you're not able to manage burn rate, most projects end up failing, and that's going to be dependent upon. But the good part is that you're at least in something that's a great idea that can last for like 3 to 6 months. And that 3 to 6 months could be huge if we're heading into like the most bullish part of the bull market, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I feel like this is a bit has a good opportunity to start bridging back to utility. But I do like Cash Cats is saying his utility projects, Liquidium is his play. Hey, that's a great one. That's a great one. And I think that like that's already established, right? So you don't have to worry about the 3 to 6 months with them. We know Robin and his team are going to be around for a long time. Kind of same thing with Fluid. We know that they're going to be around for a very long time. So we do have some solid utility plays over here, but getting away from complete meme cultures that way to try to churn out thousands of tokens on a daily basis, I think that needs to be mitigated. And this is something that can do that, because we're still going to have the $1 billion cats. We're going to have the gizmos. We're going to have the doggo to the moons. But, Bitcoin isn't churning out thousands a day like how Solana is. And I think that's what needs to be calmed down.
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. Stan actually gives a really good point. He says Benny's a genius hypermall app locally on your PC. I know he didn't mean to throw this in there for this reason, but you could potentially build this Believe app in hypermall, right, on a hypermall subnet. If you didn't watch our video with Benny, definitely go back and watch it because he really broke this down. Now I'm thinking, because now you can take the Bitcoin stuff, bridge it in, or go the other way and bridge it out. Let's just say you have a coin over there, and then you're already in Hypermall, and you could potentially build something like Believe with JavaScript in Hypermall.
Absolutely. I thought about that whenever he started to, drop these comments in there. You could do it with Hypermall. The only thing would be, it would probably make the most sense once they have the Web3 browser or like that, to where you don't have to download it. Now, because for example, let's say this application that does launch, it's the similar Believe application that launched in the Bitcoin ecosystem. It uses Hypermall. It's going to be its own app as well. So what does that look like, right? It's going to have to connect with Hypermall. So I'm sure they could figure out a way to do this, right? But you're right in the sense of, I'm sure, validators would love that, right? Be like, hey, look, this is the awesome utility type. No, not so much of the junk meme stuff, more of the serious like companies, because this could expand a little bit further out away from Web3 in the sense of the business type. It doesn't have to only be like a Web3 business. It could be a website business that's now integrating Web3 just because of the startup opportunity, right? But if they're generating revenue, then it's more about what's the potential, where's the ceiling for this company, right? So
Yeah, I think it was a great conversation. It's really really a lot of potential there for sure. Let's move along here. So Coinbase launches the Coinbase One Card, offering up to 4% Bitcoin back on every purchase, powered by American Express. Now, when
I
my
want
wife
that.
goes to Target, potentially it's like when she spends $500 in one Target trip, I get what, $50? No, 4% of that, right? So I get, I don't know how to do that. Was that four? That'll be 4 times 5. So about $20 back in Bitcoin. So I'd be, I mean, over time, that could actually be that purchase, right? If Bitcoin does 1,000x over the course of the next 20 years, but we'll see.
I think there's probably gonna be a lot of celebrities that get into this. I put my name on the wait list. I want this. I want that. You remember from what was that? What was that movie with the goofy guy, curly haired dude? God dang it! What's the Anyways, he does that dance. Anyways, there was a part of a movie where the lady's like talking about that wooden ship with her husband. She's like, I want that. That's how I feel about this card. Like, I really want this card because 4% back, that trumps any type of rewards that I'm getting right now with any of my credit cards, right? So, but the American Express Black card, something like someone that's a celebrity that spends, hundreds of thousands of dollars a month or something, this would be huge for them.
Yeah, you think about that, right? So every $500 is $20 cash back, right? So every what's that? So every 5,000 you spend is what's that? About $200 cash back, right? And it's paid in Bitcoin. And if you just set it, forget it, you don't even look at that Bitcoin that you're getting over time, it might be really significant. You might actually be able to get a full Bitcoin depending on how much you spend and not even know it's there, right? Because you're just getting it where I don't know how it's going to work. It probably goes to your Coinbase account. So you probably have your card hooked up to your Coinbase account and they'll probably just add the Bitcoin in there every single purchase.
Yeah, I mean, imagine like if they have a business card version of this. Like, there's tons of businesses that spend $5 million a month and you're earning $200,000 in Bitcoin a month, dude. Like, businesses are going to try to get this big, but there's obviously a wait list for a reason. So.
Yeah, and you don't want to leave money on there. Make sure you're paying it off every month because you're gonna lose 22%. All right, that's usually credit cards depending on your rate and stuff like that. So I don't know how much of that's gonna be. So, but they're definitely gonna make money. But speaking of making money, Shopify teams up with Coinbase and Stripe in USDC stablecoin payments push. So now, starting in probably about a month or so, you'll be able to go to Shopify. Hopefully OnChain Revolution.io and buy some stuff with your stablecoin. So now you're going to have a third option. You're going to have, credit card, PayPal, and now it's going to say stablecoin. And you're going to hit stablecoin. And, one of those codes are going to pop up. You're going to scan it with your phone. And then you can pay it with your MetaMask or pay it with your Coinbase wallet or pay it with whatever. Because as long as you have stablecoins in there, you're good to go. You'll make that stablecoin payment done. And about 30 seconds, it'll be on the blockchain, depending on what chain it's on. It's probably going to be on base chain. Base chain's around, I think, 10, 15 seconds for full confirmation. And then, boom, it's done. And you're good to go. I think this is awesome. It's not forced upon you. You don't have to use stablecoins, but it gives you another option.
It does. But this is huge for mainstream adoption, right?
Yeah.
And I think we're going to have 3 more years of this. And so this doesn't go away, in my opinion, because it's going to be so ingrained into our economy of how businesses work for the next 3 years. So even if, let's say, the opposition becomes the new administration after 3 years, this is great that this is getting instilled right now and stuff like that. There's multiple headlines I know about similar things like this, right? So Stripe getting in the game, I think, is really big. When will we start to see the everyday person use this though? And I think that's going to take a little bit more time, but so did it with the internet. Like you always bring up the facts that, like, early 2000s, your mom was even in the boat that was like, I don't want to put my credit card on the internet, or you know what I mean, and stuff like that. But now they don't think twice. I mean, it's saved there.
Yeah, 100%.
So with their PIN number or whatever, but yeah, so that we will get there, but we don't know how long it's gonna take.
This probably isn't a product for my mom, but it's probably a product for my son when he turns 18, right? Like
Yeah,
you have like
100%.
you know what I mean? So it's not for the Gen X, but maybe it's for Gen Z, right? Like this is a future product. This is a product that's gonna, it's gonna come out now. It might not get a lot of use. I know me and you're gonna use it, right? There's a lot of us 30, 40-year-olds who are kind of like in that boat where 100% I'm going to use this, right? But maybe the 50-year-old and 60-year-old is not. But over the course of the next 10 years, it's going to get to a point where everyone's using this, just like everyone's using their credit card. Like I don't see anyone using cash anymore. Everyone's using a card, but go back 20 years ago, everyone was using cash. And I think this is the next big thing of cash. I think it's going to get easier too, because right now, scan the QR code, go to my wallet. I got to have a wallet, download it. It's a little bit of friction, but I think that friction gets less and less as time goes.
Yep, agreed.
So, but to your point here, Walmart and Amazon, everyday shopping places for everyday people, right? They're exploring launching their own stablecoins. So, I seen someone like Eric, shout out to Eric, Mr. What is it, BRC 20 coins. I think he changed his name now, and then lost all of his followers. No, I'm just kidding. But he was basically saying, he's like, oh, what is every company going to have a stablecoin now?
Yeah,
it's like, that's fine. Because 100%, because you got to think, there's DeFi in this, and people don't understand that. Like, I'm gonna have the Walmart and Amazon stablecoins locked them up in an LP pool, have them on a DEX, and when I use a stablecoin, it's gonna give the company whatever stablecoin they want. It's gonna run it through the DEX real quick and then give it to them, right? So there's gonna be products put in the middle of the payments to make sure that the company gets the stablecoin that they want, right? But this is gonna actually help that company, because now it allows them to get in LP pools and earn fees every time that happens. So if we have 65 stablecoins, there's a lot of DeFi activity happening, which earns fees, right, for the LP pools. This is absolutely huge, and this is exactly what they want. This is DeFi, and this is one of the reasons why I think you're going to see trillions of dollars come into stablecoins, because it's all going to be on the back end.
Yeah, and you're going to be able to also see how the strength of some companies, because they're going to have TVL as well with these stable coins. And so there's going to be a lot of ways to kind of benefit from this, right? And you have to remember, the regulations was truly what was holding back Web2 companies to get their feet wet with Web3. The couple that tried to dip their toes in, that they got scared very quickly because of the regulators, right? And also just keep in mind that each of these major corporations, like the Walmarts, like the Amazons, they have teams that are dedicated to trying to figure out new streams of revenue, right? Creating new streams of revenue. And this one for them, they're probably like, oh my God, dude, this is like this falling into our lap type of situation. Now they're going to hire some experts, obviously DeFi experts, to see the mechanisms, and because they need the safest way to do it this way, because there's going to be a lot of liquidity on the line, but they'll figure it out. I mean, they're multi-billion dollar companies, revenue generating companies, right? So this is just the start. I think some small companies can benefit as well. Maybe not like right off the jump doing maybe they're like a middle man or something that's trying to be a facilitator or something. But they because it's so early in this infrastructure process, we'll probably see some brands that are like coming up, being known in this new sector of stable coins. We'll see the big boys here for sure.
Yeah. Well, 100%. You might, but those smaller brands might actually be huge in the future. Using this to catapult themselves, right?
Exactly.
So because they understand technology, they understand blockchain, they understand everything, and they're going to be the winners. Just like you saw, with the internet, right? The people who understood the internet, those companies were a lot smaller than some of the giants back then, but now have become giants because they were so well versed in the internet. Same thing's going to happen here, but this time is well versed in crypto, in blockchain.
Absolutely.
All right. Get to the next thing here. So SharpLink. So these next stories are all combined. So I'm going to read through these. So SharpLink buys 176K worth of Ethereum. I'm sorry, 106,000 Ethereum for $463 million. Now top public ETH holder. 95% of the holdings, though, are now staked in things like Lido and other DeFi products. So SharpLink Gaming is pleased to, this is a tweet from them, pleased to announce they've acquired 176,000 ETH, 466 million. Like we just said it, but they said becoming the largest publicly traded ETH holder. But their stock tumbled 70%, because you might be asking, where'd that 463 million come from? Well, they raised 425 million by selling stock for this Ethereum treasury. And then, but wait, there's more. So GameStop announced that its upsized offering of 2.25 billion convertible notes to fund general corporate purposes, including investments aligned with its investment policy, basically Bitcoin. The shares plunged 22% after boosting 2.25 billion to raise Bitcoin treasury strategy. So it's two separate companies, two separate strategies. One is Ethereum, one is Bitcoin. Both selling their stock, diluting their stock into the market to buy cryptocurrency. Massive.
But this also is the whole thing with SharpLink. I think that's genius.
Yeah.
Right. Is there some risk to that? Obviously, there's always some, but I think it's pretty minimal, right? They're staking their Ethereum, but it's genius for them to stake that to earn right away. But that's why I think that like BTC-Fi it's inevitable, because on that side, they're going to be like, we got to be able to make more Bitcoin with our Bitcoin, or make, you know what I mean? And so
Saylor's doing it though. He's 16% somehow.
So, well, he's doing it. Isn't he doing it through his, isn't he? Well, he's earning 16% through that's a centralized approach though.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a centralized approach. That's the same thing Jack Mallers is doing too, right? Yeah. So, I think that there's going to be a DeFi approach to it, right? That's going to be coming as well. I mean, we already know some stuff that's coming. We're going to talk about later, but yeah. So, but this is big, right? And I hope that GameStop really is disciplined and consistent with this, right? Because I've heard some rumors about the CEO. There's a little bit kind of like a wild card, but seems like he's following the blueprint, right? That Saylor has put out there. And as long as that happens, I think they're good. It's still early enough, especially even if we only hit the 250 by Q4, still well early enough. We're still at like close to 100 to 110,000. You know, that's at least double their money, which is a big amount. So
it took Saylor 4 years to look like a genius, right?
Yeah.
It isn't something you can do in the next day. That's what people don't understand about crypto. Crypto is a long run. It's not something you can. I mean, you can get lucky. You can get lucky in anything, but it's if you put the time in, if you're 5 years, give yourself a 5-year window, you're gonna win every single time. And I think someone like SharkLink here, this is going to be one of the biggest companies potentially ever, because you guys all know how I feel about Ethereum. I think Ethereum is going to go to $19,000 this cycle and potentially 69,000 by 2032. And I say that for a lot of different reasons. A lot of the reasons are stablecoins and stablecoin TVL potentially on Ethereum. And you got to remember, when stuff's on base chain, when it's on Optimism, when it's on Arbitrum, when it's on Sony, when it's on all these Ethereum L2s, technically they're still paying L1 a lot of fees. So it's going to look like Ethereum is going to be one of the biggest winners, and SharkLink, with these huge buys, and then like I said, they're getting 5%, on top of their 463 million, on top of it potentially 10xing from here. I mean, this is golden for them.
Yeah, it is. It's really smart. We'll see how it plays out, but I'm in the camp that you're in. I think that they look pretty smart here in the next 2 years.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, who knows? We might get the late cycle, or it might take 4 years, but still, I think over time, I think they're going to look like absolute geniuses. So, all right, jump to the next thing here. So yesterday, I don't know if you've seen it, but a whale got liquidated for $200 million on leverage. Guys, when you have $200 million, don't use leverage. So this is it right here. Look at this. So this is buying real-time liquidations. Yesterday, like right around 740, 747 or something like that. A whale got liquidated. Got liquidated bad. $201 million in one shot. Boom. What do you think is going through someone's head that loses $201 million on liquidation?
I think they're like, I got like $5 billion.
Stop it. No, I mean, come on.
No,
that's a lot of money.
Yeah. I don't know what's real and what's not anymore, man. Like, honestly, this is obviously data, right? So
yeah,
I know like those numbers are real in terms of the data because you can see it on chain. But I also don't know, like was this like a pool? Was this like a, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Management,
Well, this was on Binance, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, still you could still manage other funds into like one, but then you put a lot of trust into one person. I don't know. I just can't imagine $200 million being liquidated. That just hurts so bad. I mean, we see it with James Wynn, but not in one shot.
Yeah. Why are you taking leverage on $201 million? Like, why are you doing that?
Well, okay. So wait, to be fair, is it the total value or was that the collateral that was added? Because it says value
Oh,
here,
it might be
right?
the value. I don't know.
I
I
don't
don't
think
know.
that I don't think it's the total
Okay.
collateral. Or yeah, the collateral. If you had 20 million, you did a 10x, then you're sitting at 200
Okay.
million value. So maybe that's what. Still, 20 million to me is a
Yeah.
huge gut punch, right? So
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Ugh. All right, jump to the next thing here. So Google searches for the word Bitcoin is now at the same level as it was when Bitcoin was priced at
oh, I
$16,000.
don't like that. I don't like
This
that.
is so my question for you is, do people just know what Bitcoin is at this point and are just not Google searching it? Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is the chart. So we are basically bear market lows for people type in Bitcoin in on Google. This is a bad sign. The retails is not here,
Well,
right? Or do people know what Bitcoin is? And they're like, I know what Bitcoin. I researched it back here. Like, this is me. I was a part of this, right? So
the only positive of this is that our numbers have been going up as Bitcoin
yeah,
search is going to go down. So thank you guys for staying with us. Because, but think about it though, right? If you talk about the 2017 cycle, you talk about the 2021 cycle, 2020, 2021 cycle. Yes, Bitcoin in 2017, leading up to that 20,000 in December and January, it was still expensive, but you're talking about
yeah,
$5,000 to $12,000, which is still affordable for people that make, that maybe saved up in their savings account, had like 25 grand or something, right? So when you're looking at $100,000 Bitcoin, it's almost in the sense of like, okay, like it's eventually it's going to get into the same category in my opinion as gold in
yeah,
terms of like it's out of reach. I'm not the everyday person ain't going to be like, hey man, I'm looking to buy some gold bars or I'm looking to buy some, you know what I mean? And I feel like the same thing with Bitcoin. So the Bitcoin searches, yes, I think they'll go up, out of popularity, but maybe like we start to see some Bitcoin ecosystem or Bitcoin token searches. That would be cool if we saw that became a phrase that
yeah.
was trackable, right?
Dog.
Yeah, exactly. But the everyday person, you're going to see more hype around, like, I think like Bitcoin phrases, like, Bitcoin services or Bitcoin
Yeah.
this and that. But all season will trigger those other searches like crypto, those kind of searches. But yeah, I mean, look, Bitcoin's at $100,000. We're seeing at the same search level as 16,000. But like when it was $16,000, that was the pullback they're talking about, because that's what comes to my mind was whenever it dumped down to 16,000 and wicked down and touched it. And if
Well,
that's
I
the
mean,
case,
at 16,000, we have the same amount of searches as we do at
was that
103.
going up though, 16,000, or the
That was
fall
the
down?
bottom. That was the
Okay, 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 okay.
16,000 was the bottom.
Not good,
Yeah.
not good. If it
Yeah.
was the going up 16,000, I'd be like,
No,
okay.
no, no. Yeah, yeah. Well, in that case, yeah, 100%. But no, 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 no. This is back in 2022,
Okay,
2023.
then that was bad times. That
Yeah,
was
that
bad
was
times.
not did not have a good time. Yeah, 100%. But yeah, it does feel like retail isn't here yet. I mean, a lot of people in our chat are, our people, right?
Diehards,
The
yeah.
same diehards, the people who've been here with us this entire time. So like Patty Poo and like, all these other guys. But we're gonna get a roll call in a few minutes. But first, let's kind of get into the next thing here, which is the crypto fear and greed. So I'm gonna make you guess here. So last week we're at a 46. I feel 46 right now, but we're a lot higher than that. But yesterday was a 61. We're down from 61, but we're nowhere near 46. I'm gonna open the window for you. We're
54.
oh my god, yeah, you right on the noggin.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay, okay,
right.
okay, okay, okay. Like I
So
don't
you
know.
got it.
I was looking at the price action at the time that
Yeah,
the Fear and Greed was released, and I was like, okay, you know, but, I don't know. I think the news about the M2 global money supply has been really beaten to everybody's heads at this point. I feel
yeah,
like, and so maybe there's a little bit more faith than typically what happens when we see pullbacks like this. You know what I mean? Because usually when we see pullbacks like this, it's more like the world's over, you know what I mean? Like
yeah, yeah,
but because I think people are getting used to this, and then now we have that money supply to look at. We're like, no, it's not over yet. We got a couple legs left. But if it does become over in terms of shooting below 95, 90K, we probably say, oh man, we got to figure out a new way to kind of see what's going to happen the next 2 months.
yeah, 100%. 100%. I'm still bullish though. Still bullish.
So am I.
I don't know if that's good or bad, but I'm still bullish here. So, but let's kind of get into that Bitcoin price action brought to you guys by Artura.finance. Artura, they're building some really cool stuff. They're building a Bitcoin leverage trading platform on the Bitcoin L2. They're choosing Botonics, the Spider Chain, and Hemi. There's a lot of opportunities for you guys on the Spider Chain and on Hemi. Hemi is backed by Binance. Remember that, because there's opportunity there. But Artur already said, by using the platform, you're going to potentially get the ARA airdrop, right? But who knows what you get from Botonics. They're saying they're going to incentivize the chain. We don't know how, but we have some ideas, what we're thinking, and it's going to be very, very lucrative in my opinion. And same thing with Hemi. And all you got to do is go to Artura.finance when it launches on mainnet, probably within the next 4 to 6 weeks, and you'll be able to take maybe low leverage on low money and earn get those air farming opportunities for you guys. I like to call them air farming because I don't know what I'm getting, but we'll see. But definitely check out Artura.finance.
I think that's a great new phrase that you just made up, because you kind of you're not like committing to the other part, but it's just like, hey, I'm willing to put my time into it. But yeah, exciting times for that team. We know what's coming, and it's going to be exciting. But before we get into the Bitcoin price action, guys, help us out here on the YouTube side. Smash that like, of course, as always, and make sure you subscribe to the channel, right? Turn your notifications on so you know when we go live, because I promise you don't want to miss a single live stream or recorded episode, right? And then on the X side, make sure you guys share this stream. It's really important for us. It helps us out a ton. We're looking to onboard people through X to our space as well, so that helps a ton. And same thing with the abstract side as well. If you could share that stream link, we'd greatly appreciate that. But let's jump into some Bitcoin price action here, starting with the hour chart. Kind of the same old here. Starting with the hour chart, it is actually looking a lot better than it did last night at 9 p.m. We started this kind of uptrend back up here. So look, I think we're doing okay, right? Even if we did reverse down to 101, 102, like I said, I'm okay with that. And even if we dipped below 100, as long as it didn't last a long time, I'm okay with that as well. Now, what am I seeing for the second half of today? We do see some, bullish momentum. Nothing super crazy, but we did wick down to 102.7 last night, right? So this is definitely a good pullback. We'll see what happens here. You can see this, the Bollinger Band did open up here with this volatile move. That's what happens. Typically, whenever the band gets tight, right here, it got pretty tight with a quick move down, it opened up. So now we're moving back up, but it isn't like a super volatile move. I feel like we're kind of getting back into like this chop range. So we could see some chop here, and then we'll see this band tighten up a bit more. Let's see how long this can last. It's looking kind of strong, right? Not super strong, but kind of strong. You see the leading blue indicator line on the MACD. Looks like it wants to tip up right here, right? And then these stochastics, we have been in overbought territory since 3 a.m. Central Time today. So let's check and see what the local data looks like going back to 2 a.m. For the support and resistance. Let's pull this up here. We'll pull up. So we're looking at the past, about 8 hours, right? About 8.5 hours here. So let's check where we are. So we're sitting right here at 105,740. Resistance has a little bit of an edge here, a decent edge. Same thing with right below that as well. So I am a little bit worried here, because you could see the battle has been a little bit stronger on the resistance side, but I am showing, just because the number's higher, by the way, doesn't necessarily mean that like it's going to win that price range either, because you could have larger buy bids with just a smaller amount of transactions total, but you could still win that price range. But typically, if it's like really lopsided, then that means that you're continually trying, but then there's just more sell bids coming in. It's hard. That's where that resistance really kind of overpowers. But I mean, look, we saw it kind of be more larger bids the other day, and it did push through. We'll see if that can happen. But if I'm just looking at who's winning right now, it's definitely the resistance is beating the support in the 105,650 to 105,700, right? And then 105,800 800, forget about it. It's like pretty much 16-3 there. But look, again, you can keep knocking on the door, and eventually some of those sell bids will get exhausted, right? If the bids are big enough on the buy side. So we'll see what happens here. This makes me feel like we're going to probably chop in this area, right? And maybe exhaust the buy pressure a little bit. So I wouldn't be shocked if we do range a little bit between like 1035, 104 to 106. If we do get some bullish headlines, maybe we just get some, whales or some big buy bids come in and just some strong buy pressure to push us through these levels. Anything can change. But that's what I'm looking at for the next 4 hours is kind of that chop. Little bit of downtrend. I've been getting that wrong, by the way, the past couple of days. Every time I say a little bit of downtrend, it actually pushes up, except for yesterday. Yesterday was the one that kind of did, but that had to do with the world events, I feel like, as well. So let's kind of see what's happening on the 4 hour here, guys. See what the 4 hour looks pretty. Oh, okay, that's the 1 hour. I hate whenever it resets on me. All right, yeah, the 4 hour does look like it could, give some support to my thesis here. You're seeing the 4 hour look like it's still in sell pressure. It does look like it's starting to exhaust a little bit. I really like this on the stochastics. It's a pretty good setup here, but we still need for the MACD sell pressure to get more exhausted. In my opinion, we need to see this blue line start to curl up here. Let's look at the support and resistance here on the 4 hour chart as well. All right, so where we are right now, this is the battle is kind of even with support and resistance. Actually, we got a little bit more support, and this goes back to Tuesday because these candles 4 hours. So let me squeeze it in a little bit. I feel like I have too much data there. Let's go here. Thursday. Okay, that's better. Okay, where we are right now, yeah, we are still seeing that resistance a little bit stronger. So that made sense because that's kind of lining up with the 1 hour chart then. But we do have some support right here at the 105.5, right? So if we can get some, maintain the support here, get a little bit more of buy pressure in these regions here, then we can come out of the sell pressure on the MACD possibly. But let's see how the next 4 hours plays, right? That's going to really lead us because after today, I feel like the 4 hour charts, we're not going to get much forecast for tomorrow. As you know, Saturday is really just kind of like not really super high volume, chopping, kind of scalping type of plays from the traders there. So the 4 hour
all day.
Exactly. It looks like it reset all of them for me here. But let me reset. This is the weekly chart for Bitcoin here.
That looks bullish, dude.
The weekly chart. I mean, the weekly chart has looked good, for a while. You can see here. Now, we did go into the red here on the weekly candle, but we still have today, tomorrow, and Sunday, right? So this could easily turn back around to green. I don't worry about where we are in the weekly because of that global supply chart. I mean, I feel like it's going to align most with the weekly because that's why if I see a little red candle, if I see a medium-sized red candle, I'm okay because that means maybe we got down to 102 or we finished the week at 102 to 105, and I'm okay with that because I feel like I know where we're headed in the next 2 weeks. If this completely breaks down, that's a totally different story, but I don't think that's going to happen here. So I think we're still okay. It is. We'll see if this turns green by Sunday. There's a good chance it will. The past couple of weekends have been pretty bullish, in my opinion. We've had decent Sundays. We've had decent Sundays to bring it back up. We've only had one red candle in the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, about 15 weeks. Right. So if we do end on red here, it'll be our second red candle in 15 weeks, which, that's okay. It could kind of form a small bull flag here, and we'll see what happens. All right. Yeah. So I think the weekly chart for Bitcoin looks fine, guys. Nothing to worry about there. The weekly chart for the others, it actually stayed on the weekly. I love that, but it doesn't look good here. So this is the most volatile chart I feel like that we go through because, Ethereum looked good when Bitcoin was kind of, go ranging back and forth. But I'm assuming Ethereum's down today, because you see the others chart. So for for the new watchers today, the others chart is everything besides Bitcoin and the top 10 in market cap. So look, This is just, it is what it is here, right? It's going to be green if either Bitcoin is aggressively pushing up, and Ethereum's obviously going to follow that. So this chart follows Ethereum more closer than it follows Bitcoin, but it has a delayed reaction to Bitcoin unless Ethereum's doing opposite of Bitcoin. Then it will follow Ethereum instead. So this is expected from the pullback that we had yesterday with Bitcoin, pulling all the way down to 1027. So nothing surprising here, but also nothing super worrying to me, because this is going to turn on when it turns on, right? When Ethereum really turns on, or Bitcoin gets super hyper aggressive to 130. This is going to benefit from that as well, right? So it's kind of a sit and wait moment for the others on the weekly. Let's take a look here. I didn't want to pull this up because I knew what it was going to look like, but we got to do it. Let's pull up the top 100 here. Oh, there's a couple little greenies in here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so everything obviously is going to be down. And like we said, the memes benefit the most when everything's go up, at least for now, until utility becomes the main focus. And they're also going to get hit in the gut the most whenever things go down. And we're seeing that. You see that with SPX down 11%, Floki down 9.2%. You see Pepe down 8.7%. Bonk not down too bad, 6.4%. Any other memes up here? Let's take a look at some utility stuff. You see Hyperliquid down 2.7%, not too bad. Atom down 5.7%. Sui down 7.5%. That's a little bit higher than some of these other utility ones. Arbitrum down 9.7%. Wow. And then Ace Bar down 6.5%. You got Near Protocol down 8.8%. So the utility ones are starting to get hit right in the gut too. Wow. Optimism right here down 12.7%. You see Quant down 7.9%, and then Aptos down 8.7%. Caspa down 6.1%. And our leading indicator of the cycle, Fartcoin, down 7.1%. ICP down 8.3%. Tau down 5.9%. I'm going to stop talking because it's just depressing. But we do have to check our guy, Dog, which has got hit too, guys. But before that, I want to. So Brett's down 16.1%. Dog is somewhere here. Mog is down 9.4%. I don't even want to. Okay, Dog down about 6.1%. Not too bad. Not too bad actually compared to some of these other ones. So
for sure.
Starknet down 8.7%. But that is what the alts look like right now, guys. Again, do not panic, or at least I'm not panicking. You can do you, but I feel like I know where we're headed, and this is the most confident I've been. I feel like whenever there's been pullbacks. So we'll see.
Yeah, no, 100%. I completely agree. It's just one of those days where it's just like it's hard to look. It's one of those days where like maybe turn it after the show, of course, when you guys are done watching the show. Maybe turn off your apps and just maybe touch some grass or lay on the couch and watch Sticks, like I will be doing later. But,
that's a good show.
It really is. It really is. I gotta watch this week's episode. But let's jump into roll call here. And it is looking like my boy Danny Boy back in tied for number one. Let me actually show my screen here. So if you don't know what this is, every single day I track the first comment on YouTube and I put it on a spreadsheet, and I track it every single day. We can go all the way back and see the first comment on this one, and it's looking like Danny Boy with his 25th win of the year. Lucky Luke, he got his 25th yesterday. Webdro's right there with 23. 23. It's looking like anyone's game right now. It's going to be fun to see who wins this at the end, but Danny, Lucky Lukey, and Webdro are definitely leading, but ASAP Benji's right there. And we do have probably another 120 days left in a year. There's still a lot of opportunities here for you. Maybe you haven't made the list yet. Maybe it's a good idea to get on the list. Maybe we'll be giving stuff to every single person who makes this list. I don't know. We will see. But it's still an opportunity. Make sure you guys get on this list. But for sure. Let's jump through the rest of the roll call here. Danny Boy says staying alive. Staying alive. Staying alive. And then we got Matt is here. Danny Boy got back at first. Yeah, man. 1+ ad is here. Didn't know tears could burn. What? Like what? All right. And then we have Lucky Luke says GM, great job, Danny. Malam Yuri says my battery died on me in town yesterday, but I caught up later to listen to your 4 Alkanes picks. Thank you. No problem. That's what we're here for. If you don't remember the Alkanes pick yesterday, I think it was B, methane, the new one. What's it?
Alchemist,
and what was that for?
Bamboo was in there.
Yeah, probably bamboo. But yeah, man. So thank you for coming back and watching later. Appreciate that. Hillbilly is here. Shout out. He's a GM for the PA Wilds. Thank you so much for being here, my friend. Abstract is here. Let's go. And if you guys aren't airdrop hunting Abstract, you need to go to abs.xyz, at least load up an account there and, you know, potentially play some games and stuff or watch some videos. And to make sure you guys get a part of that Abstract airdrop. Highly recommend that one. It's going to be a big one. K99 is here. He said, bad day. Ugh. Chips and Dip is here. Spin Drifts, his dog is strong. Vader Time said it's Bitcoin time. It does look like, I'm not gonna lie, dude. When you were talking, you just saw Bitcoin just climbing the entire time you were talking there, and I was like just watching it. It really did some big numbers there. Coach Katz is here. Shout out to Cash Cats, my guy. He brings the coffee and the donuts and the dog go to the moon. Shout out to you, my friend. Let's go every single day. You know, I love that you're back, bro. I seriously do. Thank you so much, man. Yeah, man. And they got Danny Boys to stay alive. Chota Satoshi says, let's effing go. Like and share the stream. Everyone, yes, please. I'm only looking at like 19 likes over here. If you guys wouldn't mind pushing these likes up, thank you. That would be awesome. Chief Axel is here. Shout out to Chief Axel. Stan, is dog bigger than Alkanes? So yes, dog alone by itself is bigger than all the Alkanes combined, including the NFTs. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't. Yeah,
well, it's the social effect, though.
Yeah,
the social effect of dog is just it's stronger than coins that have double the market cap of its market cap. So
easily, yep. KDN is here. What's up, man? He says, are city coins like Miami Coin and NYC dead? I forgot about those. You remember those?
No. What were
So there's a company that came along and allowed you that you were tokenizing city coins. You were able to go and buy a city coin like Miami and New York, and I think they all probably went to zero. But it was like a big thing last cycle.
Were there mayors involved in it and stuff, or no?
The mayor of Miami, he was airdropped a bunch of the Miami coin.
Oh,
so
okay,
yeah.
John
Doe says Track Network, Hypermall, and Dog Easy Millionaire. There's a lot of track guys here now. Shout out to you guys, man. Thank you guys so much for coming in today. Hydro Sapien, my guy, man. Every single day. Appreciate you, dude. Really, really do. He said, I made it. Let's go. Thank you so much for being here, man. Stan says, can Bitcoin devs create viable AI model that can compete with virtuals or Tau? Thanks. Good question. We can ask Jake this later. You probably know better than both of us.
Yeah, so. Yeah. We're gonna have Jake from Emblem Vault / Agent Hustle, which is an AI that is on Solana. But yeah, they're gonna be adding the Bitcoin tech stack. So I guess yes is the answer. But how many is the question? We'll ask them later.
100%. We got Hydro Sapien against Dog is King. Catch says utility projects. Liquidium is my play. Hell yeah. Stan, we read that one already. Stan had a bunch of comments in here. Appreciate you, my friend. He's a big Hypermall guy. He says, what is next? Hypermall license campaign. I fumbled the ball. I think we have one. We have a license. I wonder if Benny would push Track Network. Well, I don't know. There's nothing in there. It's just we paid the track for it. Stan said it's amazing how genius the project devs are. The most tokenomics. Many of the projects are upside down. Why? Any idea?
What for which ones? Track?
Sure. I think he means track. Yeah, probably.
Well, I think it's because of lost momentum, though, right? From the tap ecosystem and stuff. I mean, like they're not going to sit on their thumbs forever.
Yeah, 100%. Patty Pooh, the Bitcoin machine himself, is here. Shout out to Patty Pooh, man. Really appreciate you, man, here every single day. You're absolutely amazing. Stan says, I need that card. Yes, 100%. He says, do projects need to attach themselves to Bitcoin for success? For example, Tron, Cardano, in a way. I don't think they need to, but it can't hurt.
Well, I think they look at it as an opportunity, the ones that are doing it. Cardano, and Cardano, the Near's starting to do that more, especially with the whole rune shot. And then I think we're going to see a big SUI push eventually. And we've already seen ICP. So I think they're all placing a bet here. And if they're right, I think they'll win bigly.
Love it. Stan says, I honestly thought the new generation would have bought into Bitcoin by now, like TikTok. Yeah, the problem is like you go to a younger person and say, hey, you should buy some Bitcoin. They're like, I don't have 100K. It's just they just don't. But they want to buy Dogecoin because it's 0.0006, right? So
yeah, there's a small percentage of young people that probably do buy Bitcoin, but those are the same young people that like out of nowhere, like you're just like playing basketball and meet a guy. He's like, you're like, how old are you? He's like 26, and then you get to know him and you find out he owns his own house already and stuff.
Yeah,
because like that dude had a game plan when he was like 10, right?
Yeah.
So like that, but there's a small percentage of that, and I think that those same people are probably the ones that have a little bit of Bitcoin.
100% agree. 100%. Tim Baker's here. AOD art himself. Appreciate you, my friend. Mochain says, I'm here live. We will get you likes for sure. Thanks so much, Mochain. Appreciate it, my friend. I stumbled over all those words for some reason. But Max says, reposted the stream. Cash Cats with the fire and the fist and the fire. I appreciate you, my friend. I appreciate every single one of you guys who makes a roll call each and every day. Yeah, you'd be surprised when people hit me up and they're like, yo, I watched the show, but I never made roll call. If you've never made roll call, please make roll call. I want to shout you out. I want to give you the respect you deserve. Please, if you're sitting there popping an earpiece in at work or whatever, make roll call, guys. It's absolutely amazing.
Some big names too. So they watch. They just don't want to put it out there. Not gonna call them out though. But
shout out Leonidas.
Oh,
I'll say it. No. But yeah, 100%. And Vincent made roll call a bunch of times.
Oh yeah,
so shout out to Vincent.
He's giving us super chats.
Yeah, multiple, 100%. Well, let's gotta get it. So every Friday we like to shout out some of our friends here, and one of our friends is the great guys at Fluid and Fluid Friday, and I do not see their banner. Anyway, so Fluid is building some really cool stuff. They're building a lot, actually. So we talk about them all week, but we like to, on Fridays, we like to kind of grab and really give them the respect that they deserve, because they're building on alkanes now, right? They're building on runes. They have built for runes, staking vaults, stuff like that. They got some really amazing stuff coming. We're going to walk through one by one, but where do you want to start with this? Should we just go down their Twitter account?
Yeah, so let's start with their Twitter, because they did have a couple tweets that they recently announced. But while you're doing that, one of the things that we talked to them about in our weekly meetings is the fact that they're working with alkanes, right? So they actually tweeted recently about that. I think they teased it right there. Yeah, alkanes, and then they did the redacted black boxes there. It says drop your address, right? So look, we know what Fluid is known for, right? They're known for staking. They're known for borrowing and lending. And I think that their developers are starting to get really excited with what alkanes can do here, right? So a little hint that we got is, expect some staking coming, right? Expect this to probably happen pretty soon. Let's say maybe in the month of July, right? There could be some exciting advancements with alkanes and Fluid. So, this is be the first time that they're going to be able to work with smart contracts in Bitcoin, on Bitcoin layer 1, right? So, one of the questions I asked Raul, because they started building on Cardano, and I just had this little thought in the back of my head the entire time, was that, look, if Cardano can do smart contracts, but then they do the computation with their off-chain indexer, why can't we do that? And once alkanes kind of started learning more about it, I asked him, I was like, straight up, I was like, is this basically, besides the programming language being different, is this the same strategy to use an off-chain indexer to read and do the logic and compute part of the smart contract, but then putting that transaction on Bitcoin? Does Cardano do the same way? And he said, yes, this is pretty much the same thing. So that means that we have DeFi now on Bitcoin with layer 1 without any on-chain computation, and it could have been done the entire time. But people didn't want to do it that way, which was so weird, because that's how we do runes, or that's how we do runes, and that's how we do ordinals. They're all off-chain indexers, right? So it was like, to me, I'm just like, did these developers not want to try? But it looks like alkanes did, and they put it forward. So we'll see.
Yeah, I just think you got to have major UTXO knowledge.
Yeah.
I feel like someone like Jeff could have created this, right? If that was his plan, but he wanted to go the route of EVM, because smart contracts, trusted. It's a lot of work that goes into this stuff, right?
Yeah.
But alkanes really seem to be, they're here for the long term. They want to change the way we do things. They're looking at Cardano and they're like, hey, to your point, I mean, this is kind of what Raul told us. I mean, you could just take Wasm, right? They have their own programming language, which is I was actually looking into it. It's very similar to Wasm. It's WebAssembly. It's assembled text. That's
Is it?
all WebAssembly
But
is, right?
they
So,
call it Haskell or something, right? Something different.
yeah, it's Haskell. But dude, the way ChatGPT was telling me, it seems like it's a fork of WASM, like in some way. Like
Just
like
a
it's kind of
couple
like how
differences.
it's kind of like how the Move language took Rust and then created Move, right? It seems like that's what they did with that. They took WASM and created Haskell or whatever it's called. But I mean, they could definitely do something similar here. But guys, I want you guys to head over to this tweet. I put the tweet in the chat here. Go over here and put your Bitcoin address in here. Stupid not to. They're obviously doing an airdrop. They're building an airdrop tool for alkanes. So go over here. Make sure you guys are following Fluid as well, and put your wallet address in here. I want to see everyone from our community in here. This is free money. Like, I'm not sure how much it's going to be. It's probably not going to be a lot, but hey, dude, these guys are very generous. The guys over at Fluid, so who knows? It could be. So go over here, put your Bitcoin address in here. Make sure it's your Taproot address. Make sure it begins with BC1. When you do it, do not put your Bitcoin 3 address in here or the 1. You definitely want to be BC1 for sure. So definitely go over there and do that, guys. But let's kind of go back into some of their other tweets here. So this was one of the top ones. If you just go to X, you don't have it, just go to Fluid Tokens XBT, and it's like the second one right there. That's the one right there. And you're seeing them kind of put in some code here. Alkanes on Fluid. It's a lot of code there. And then they say, if you are active DeFi user, are you mainly holding runes and alkanes, which is 52%, holding Bitcoin, or both? And it does look like mainly the people here who voted are holding runes and alkanes. Moving along here, so alkane staking. So they are deep in alkanes, guys. Alkanes.
That's
alkanes,
what's next
Bitcoin.
on the docket, right?
100%. And then they reposted Johnny Himalaya, who knows working with DotSwap. How DotSwap Nexus powers Bitcoin. So they're definitely getting their potentially going to be loading on Nexus. So we can see the FLDT token potentially on DotSwap using the Nexus here. And then you have the Fluid Tokens roadmap. You can watch his little video here. It's about 1 minute and 6 seconds. And I think this is Raul's co-founder here, explained by CEO Meta Matt, who we haven't met, Matt, have we? Yet. We only really talked with Raul, but this is the other guy from that duo. This is Matt kind of explaining the roadmap. But on the roadmap, I'm seeing some pretty cool stuff on there. So
yeah, I got a little teaser that I'm gonna give away to the audience here. But before I do that, man, like I don't know if I've seen a team like this that like they're covering they want to make sure they cross all the T's, dot all the I's everywhere in the Bitcoin ecosystem. Yeah. And they're also continually building out the Cardano side of things. So to me, I think they're going to be one of the biggest UTXO companies in the future. Right now, you might not see it as much with their market cap, but also that goes to say with a lot of the Bitcoin ecosystem stuff, right? Unless you're a chain.
Yeah.
If you're a chain, you're going to have a bigger market cap. But the fact that they're covering Bitcoin and all aspects of it, all the meta protocols, they want to support everything. And the same thing on Cardano. What's next? Like, do they expand to like Litecoin or whatever? I don't know. Yeah. I'm just saying that they work that hard as they're trying to get everywhere. And a little teaser that I'm gonna give that I don't know if I'm supposed to. I think he said it was okay, but they are working on a layer 1 Bitcoin, staking your Bitcoin to earn Bitcoin. And you're like, how can you do that? You can't just create more Bitcoin on layer 1. Well, actually, you kind of can if you like charge fees, but that's not how they're doing it. They're doing this by way of working with and partnering with Core DAO, which is a Bitcoin layer 2, by the way, that's on Coinbase, that's backed by Coinbase Ventures.
Yeah,
that's going to be huge, in my opinion. Because what they're going to handle so what happens is like you're staking your Bitcoin on layer 1, just like you staked your dog. And you're actually going to be supporting the core chain because that's how they secure their chain, which is wild. And then you actually are earning core tokens, which are solid because they're on Coinbase. But Fluid's going to take care of converting the core tokens to Bitcoin, and then that's what you're going to earn. So I think that's going to be a game changer. Yeah. I don't know how you feel about that, but I'm going to be putting Bitcoin in there.
Yeah, I mean, so as a user, right, I'm taking my Bitcoin, I'm locking it in another of one of my personal wallets, right? Because every Bitcoin address wallet has like 9,000 addresses. So it's going to pick one random address. It's going to block lock it in that address to a certain block height, right? And then when I'm ready to unlock, I get more Bitcoin. And that, how am I going to get in that Bitcoin? Well, Core is actually going to be giving it to the Fluid team, and they're going to be airdropping you that. And when you claim your Bitcoin back, you're going to get that Bitcoin and more Bitcoin back with it. So it's actually kind of genius. First off, by Core. And then second off by Fluid for taking advantage of that opportunity and allowing you not to have to wrap your Bitcoin to do this, but they're actually going to they're going to do it for you.
Yeah, which is absolutely crazy that they set up this proof of stake mechanism that you're staking on Bitcoin layer 1.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's pretty wild, but I love it. I'm going to be doing it myself. But everybody, you guys obviously make that decision as as an adult decision yourself. But like most of you guys have tried out Fluid staking vaults and realized that you're staking in one of the thousands of Bitcoin addresses. Shizzy actually had to learn the hard way that we have thousands of addresses because he had to use Sparrow Wallet and try to search for some Bitcoin that he put in some random address somehow. I don't know how that happened, but he found it. But that's how he knew
hardware
that
wallet. Yeah.
But that's how he knew that like each wallet has thousands of addresses that you can utilize, right? And that's what Fluid does, is it puts your staked assets into one of those addresses that is under the main address of your account, and it's just locked to a certain block height, that's the beauty part of Bitcoin layer 1, is that you can actually do that. So it's really cool.
100%. You want to watch this video real quick of the CEO here?
Let's do it.
Our roadmap is pretty packed for the near future, but all revolves around the idea of offering these non-custodial services, integrating the Bitcoin layer 2s that offer yielding opportunities, and deploying the trustless bridge. At the beginning on Cardano, to enable some yielding opportunities with our partners, Shoutouts and Dial, it's here, okay? And in the second step, expand this bridge through Cardano to actually touch also the EVM chains. Our team is a bunch of nerds with a lot of years in the UTXO environment, particularly Cardano and Bitcoin, and we deploy and develop our solution completely internally, so we don't need to externalize anything. And we have a bunch of cool advisors as well, Jacob from Bitcoin Frontier Fund and Pierre from Merlin. So True Tokens, with all these years, is well positioned to become, through Cardano, to become the nexus between Bitcoin and the DeFi world. So thank you very much for your attention, guys.
Wow. That was pretty big to see, right? So they want to be the in-between Bitcoin and Cardano. They already kind of are at this point, right?
Yep. And then they have that outlet to EVM as well. So, to me, it's covering all the tracks. It's covering all the doors, right? Possible liquidity flow. Because, yes, we got a lot of Bitcoiners that are listening in, and most of them are the new generation of Bitcoiners, which I absolutely love because you're very open-minded. You might have some old school ones, which I love too, but then you get to a certain kind of OG that I don't necessarily, but we won't go there. But my whole point is that, like, in the future, everything needs to be able to have a flow in and out for our industry to work. Now, I do always want Bitcoin to be this kind of safe haven to where I can go. It's decentralized. We know that and stuff like that, but you can still have that. You don't have to participate in, all the other stuff. And I love that about Bitcoin. And I love that we're keeping it that way. And it seems to be, that's how the future is going to be. But I also love the fact that if I want to, I can play in these other areas that have doors to liquidity flow in and out.
Yeah, 100%. You have to remember, Bitcoin is two different things. There's Bitcoin, the coin, the one that the maxis only care about. They only care about the coin. They don't understand even how the chain works, some of them, right? Especially like Sailor. He doesn't give a shit. He wants to hold the coin. That's the reward token for keeping the chain going, right? But he wants that coin. And then you have other Bitcoiners like us who want to use the chain. The chain is the most secure chain in the world because of those same Bitcoiners who want to get that coin and hold that coin forever. But the chain, in my opinion, is the most important part because we have this giant cloud system that's just sitting there and letting us do whatever we want. And it's going to be alive forever because there will always be, Bitcoiners who want to put up hash and get more Bitcoin. Even when all the Bitcoin runs out in 2141, which is something that we're not going to have to deal with. But even then, you're still going to get fees for doing that. And those fees are going to come from us. So the maxis don't understand how important we are and how important it is to build stuff on Bitcoin layer 1, because eventually, I mean, the next 30, 40 years, maybe you're going to need those fees, right? Especially when it halves down to where you're getting 0.1 or 0.2 Bitcoin per block, right? So it's really important to create an economy on Bitcoin layer 1. But a lot of these maxis don't care. They'll be dead by that point. They just want, they're in Bitcoin to make money.
Whoa.
I mean, 2141, I mean, of course they're going to be dead, right?
Well, we don't know. There's supposedly some life extension stuff that's coming out.
Hal Finney might come back, right? Because he's in a hyperbolic time chamber or something.
Did they really? They saved his brain, didn't they, or something?
Yeah, he's in Arizona. He's in like some ice thing in Arizona.
It reminds me of like a Futurama episode or something.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's basically what those brains are. They're they came
saving them for later. But yeah, look, you're right. But I don't want to continue down this road and just harp on it. But the pull request did go through, and I feel like I want to say it. We won.
we won.
But the thing is that we increased the op return data limit, right? It wasn't like no ceiling. They set it to like a huge number, which basically doesn't matter. But I do feel like all that was like so unnecessary, all the back and forth stuff that happened like 2 months ago. But then quietly, like you even said, man, I can't believe how quiet it was that pull request went through, and now it's getting merged. And so, but that does show that we are evolving the chain a bit. Now you and I both agree that we need to make sure that security is still that top priority. So hopefully that happens.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is such a small change. This is an outcap, right? This isn't like nothing. All they're allowing us to do is put more in each block, right? I mean, that's it. But this is really big for BitVM. This kind of keeps BitVM progressing, right? We both think that BitVM is a next year thing, right? We think there's a lot of, I mean, it can be this year, but in my head, I think Arch and Middle and stuff are this year, and then we're going to see a lot of BitVM projects really go live towards the end of this year or early next year. I think in that sense, right, where we're going to see a lot of these Middle and Arch kind of be potentially this summer or this fall. So I'm really looking forward to BitVM, and I think they have every reason to succeed at this point, especially if you get some maxis. I mean, you have to get some maxis in there to be able to get this through, and they did. So
yeah, and remember, BitVM having success helps the layer 2 scaling solutions. Perhaps Merlin goes kind of back to like the proof of work by being able to roll up and doing the verification, because I know that was the whole idea between Newbit and Merlin's partnership. So it's not like BitVM, okay, they're here and then everything else is done. No, they're actually going to be a tool that some of these other scaling solutions also leverage, while you can also do virtual machine stuff. And I think it would be really cool for Bitcoin to have its own virtual machine. And I think like Alkane's kind of has like their indexer, they consider that, because it does the logic and computation and stuff. But having a full blown, like in-depth, intricate, like virtual machine like BitVM, that'd be really cool.
We should probably reach out to like Citria or stuff and kind of maybe learn a little bit and teach our audience a little bit more about what's going on behind the scenes. I mean, we talked to Newbit. That video is awesome, but I think maybe we should reach out to Citria as well. Real quick too, I want to reach out want to share with Fluid. They actually have an airdrop tool. So if you're thinking about airdropping runes, or now even Alkanes, probably really soon. I think the time frame for Alkanes was was it first week of July, and then the last week of July was for something else.
No, it was staking. Here, let me. Okay, yes. So you start, the staking will start in the first week of July and it will end at the last week of July. So you got to be prepared.
Something else comes. Are we allowed to talk about that?
What, the core thing?
No, the borrow and line.
Well, I guess you just did.
Well, they got something really awesome coming for Alkanes.
I mean, everything we talked
doing Alkanes.
Everything we talked to them about, they gave us green light on. So
all right, so they're having borrowing and lending coming into the last week of July. Yes, you're gonna be able to borrow and lend against your Alkanes, guys. Alkanes and this Wasm. I mean, Fluid's building something special for this. Get ready for that. It's gonna be awesome. But if you guys are interested in airdropping, check out this video here. They basically walk you through how to airdrop. There's no sound to this, but they're actually showing you this is all the dog airdrops. They're airdropping this entire amount. Look how much dog. And I was a recipient of one of this dog as well. It got airdropped during dog phase 2 of staking, and dog phase 3 of staking is coming soon, where you'll be able to stake your dog again and earn some of this dog that's in here. So definitely want to be a part of this when it does drop. But this is the airdrop tool, and how much you can airdrop is absolutely insane. I mean, it's only a couple bucks. Like I think they spent like maybe, I don't know, but it wasn't a lot of money. But shout out to the guys at Fluid for building an awesome airdrop tool. So
absolutely. Yeah, there's some whales that actually staked.
Yeah,
so a lot of
massive amount of dog there. So, all right, let's move along here. So, some big news yesterday came out as well. So, Aerodrome, they said we're integrating DEXs from Base Chain directly into Coinbase app. Yes, the Coinbase app, the centralized Coinbase app. You will now be able to make DEX trades and hold those coins in the app, right? Via the wallet. The wallet and the app are going to be connected. So let's just say you buy some Ethereum, potentially on Coinbase. You can now, when dog is over there, you'll be able to buy dog on Aerodrome as long as there's liquidity on the Coinbase app. And they have this full video here. I'm not going to play the video because it's a little longer. But if you're interested, just go to the Aerodrome site. It's at AerodromeFi, and you can watch it. But basically, Aerodrome's best-in-class trading execution will soon be coming to millions of Coinbase users. The world is coming on-chain, and we absolutely love that here. We think there's going to be an on-chain revolution, and we think that's coming like really, really soon. So,
yeah. But I love doing the show because stuff that we talk about like a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, starts to come to fruition, right?
I know.
Like the whole hyperliquid movement got decentralized exchange, put a fire under their butts. Now they're just like, oh, we gotta do on-chain stuff too. We gotta do on-chain. So this is where it's, if you're the slingshots, if you're the moonshots, you need to figure out more products.
Yeah.
Can completely differentiate yourself, because now Coinbase is offering pretty much the same thing that you guys are. You guys were working with smart contracts, doing direct swaps through on chain. They're doing it now too. You got Binance already started doing this. Coinbase. This is why I kind of feel like there's like a table of like the centralized exchange mafia, and then there's an even smaller table with like the 3-headed monster or whatever, like I feel like they communicate, dude. But because they're both doing the same thing, right? They're doing the same thing now. And I don't know, what do you think? Is this good or is this bad?
This is absolutely amazing, because you know how hard it is for someone to tell someone, hey, you don't buy stuff on Coinbase because when it gets to Coinbase, they already had their 100x.
Yeah.
Right. So when you're buying coins that are on Coinbase, and they're safe, they're very safe. If you buy a Coinbase coin, I doubt it's going to go to zero. But you're not going to get that 100x. So you should buy on chain. But now I can just tell them, hey, just go into Coinbase. There's an app for a DEX swap. Just hit DEX swap and you can buy dog there. I mean, that's so much easier for someone like me to explain it to somebody. And I don't have to say, hey, you're buying it on base and blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. As long as there's liquidity for it, it doesn't matter. Now we can actually take tokens from Runes to base, add liquidity, and normies can buy them on places like Coinbase.
Okay, so I have a scenario for you. This is where I think trouble can come in. Is they're going to have to be tokens that have hit a certain threshold and liquidity locked, because imagine swapping for a token that's like hot. It got to like $12 million and it's hot. It just launched like 8 hours ago, and then you rug through Coinbase. You know what I mean? Like, if you're a newbie, that's going to be like horrible experience, right? Like, you can't get rugged necessarily. You can, but it has to be really like unique situation, and because that's the whole purpose of the token hitting all these like milestones and getting listed on a centralized exchange. Maybe they put like a small fine print that says, "Well, you have risk here."
You badge them. You put a note on there and saying, hey, anything not badged, it means it has less than 500,000 in liquidity, right? Or less than 200,000 liquidity.
But they don't even know what that means. So you know what I mean? Like,
play at your own risk. Only or maybe Coinbase only allows you to buy badged tokens. Yeah, right? Maybe
I think that's probably, they're going to do something to protect the newbie users. They have to, right? Because they're a public company and stuff. But I think this is. I agree with you. I think this is the right direction to help like even newbies get into something early, because that was, you and I had to learn through research back in 2020, 2021, like what's MetaMask, what is this, and then through videos and all the stuff. And now they can kind of get into these early plays directly through Coinbase. So but that, I agree, there's gonna have to be like this badging or approved system or some sort.
Yeah, or like, hey, this maybe a pop-up pops up. Hey, you're buying this token. Play at your own risk. Are you sure you want to buy this token? Coinbase is going to make sure that they're not going to get sued, right? And so that's the biggest thing. There's going to be lawyers involved. They're going to make sure that all the fine print is there. So this is a good thing, but I think you definitely have to badge some. But that's going to be the biggest thing. It's going to be like, dog just got badged on Aerodrome, right? So it's going to be like, that's going to be the big thing, getting badged on Aerodrome to be eligible to be bought on Coinbase, right? That's going to be a big thing. And it's not going to matter anymore about getting listed on Coinbase anymore, because now, just like the alpha tokens, right? You can go buy Merl on Binance right now because it's an alpha token. Right? If you don't care about how they get it for you, what does it matter? You don't care. You just know that I can buy Merl on Binance right now.
Yeah. Is this an attempt to kill the DEXs?
No, this is making Aerodrome $1 trillion freaking company potentially.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I know, but like they still have to use DEXs, right? So it's not like to kill the volume from the DEXs, because they're still using the DEXs. Actually,
this is making sure the centralized exchanges don't get killed.
What do you mean?
Got me? Like this is bringing in the central. So in the future, I think we both think that the centralized exchange is going to go away. You're not going to need them anymore, because you're going to be able to. Your wallet's going to have USDC on it, and you can just go buy any coin, do the MetaMask swap, do the Phantom swap. You're not going to need to go to a centralized exchange.
That was the direction it was heading for sure.
Yes, but now that the exchanges are saying, "Hey, no, still buy through us. We can get you the DEX tokens that you need." You know what I mean? So
yeah, that makes sense. I mean, they have the capital to do it now, while versus like whenever they're like, what the heck? Like our volume's going down. They're losing money and they're losing revenue year over year, and so now they're kind of preemptively like preparing for this, right? So,
and we're getting to a world where I'm going to be able to go to my employer and say, hey, instead of sending it to my bank, can I get it sent in USDC? Because I buy everything on chain anyway, right? Like I'm able to go to Amazon and buy with USDC. I'm able to go to Shopify and buy with USDC. Is there any way that I can get my direct deposit in USDC and avoid the banks? That's going to be something in the near future, dude, especially with all these stablecoins that are happening.
Yeah, and I mean, Fluid could be a provider of that. It's like the AC. They're really doing it with Aquarium. There was a video, I think, or like a post that said, "Hey, if you want to, like, if you have a regular monthly payment to your Discord managers or your devs, you can do it through Aquarium." So that's what we gotta really understand, like how lucky we are as the audience right now, because this infrastructure, we're talking about the future ACH providers, the payroll companies and stuff like that right now as we speak, right? Whether that's going to be Fluid or another one or whatever. And so this new financial system is really getting, going to take over. It's just going to be like, when is that big? It's happening over time. Yeah, basically.
100%, dude. I'm looking forward to it. We had a tweet this morning from our good friend Jeff, Bitmap Tech on X. He says Merlin just got added to Kraken's roadmap. So
huge.
We saw Dog get added like a week or two ago, and now we're actually, for the first time, we're seeing Merl on here. So you're seeing some new tokens on here, and some ones that have already been on here. Dog looks like it got pushed back a little bit here. You are seeing it up here, but shout out to Merlin chain being put here with Dog right now. Absolutely awesome. Congratulations to the Merlin team, any Merlin holders, because Kraken, in my opinion, is going to be a top tier one. I think they're eventually going to compete with Coinbase one day, because they are listing the stuff that they just won't list. And shout out, you're seeing Merlin. But that's the thing too with Coinbase, if because we knew that Merlin is a ERC20, right? So you can potentially list, like, put it on bridge it to Binance or to base chain, lock liquidity, and now people can potentially buy it on Coinbase.
Yep.
Right. So, but shout out to Merlin getting listed on Kraken here.
All those strategic plays and partnerships that they did the past 3 months is starting to pay off, man. It's really starting to pay off. And
it really is.
let's say they, none of the Bitcoin layer 2s have a ton of volume or anything, right? But what he did was like, okay, that will come. We're focusing on the strength of our brand, our TVL, MBTC as a brand, and it's gotten them to this point. And I think that we're going to see more and more. This is love Justin Tron or hate him. The dude got the Tron token to where it is today, and he's worth billions of dollars now, right? So, I mean, I feel like Merlin has a very similar trajectory, and he's just in the right circles right now. He's in the right business meetings, and he's doing the right things, making the right moves, while other Bitcoin layer 2s are getting, I won't go too deep into it, but, having trouble. We'll just say that.
Yeah. Definitely having trouble for sure, but this is pretty big, on the sense of we're gonna say, isn't it funny though how Dog and Merlin were listed in November on the perps?
Yes.
And now we're in here in June, and they're both being listed on Kraken officially. So
Spot,
it takes 9 months to go from perps to spot, right?
It's a baby. It's a baby.
100%. So we're waiting for
he's gonna be here in a second.
Right?
He just
Okay, cool.
I dropped the link in there. Yeah. So.
Well, I got one more topic here. So, Liquidium yesterday marked a major milestone, the first true cross-chain loan in crypto. So, shout out to Robin, shout out to the guys at Liquidium, man, really building something really awesome here. Liquidium doing cross-chain lending, absolutely huge. Pretty big.
It is big. This is the first they were able to do EVM to Bitcoin, and this is another thing that I talk about with like the builders that do have an open mind, right? It's not like a huge door in your mind, but like just that window to say, okay, look, we built on layer 1. We're also partnering with scaling solutions. They've partnered with ICP. I know they have some sort of relationship with Arch coming up. Now they're utilizing the window that goes to EVM as well. You got it. This is business, guys. Like, you have to be innovative while knowing your main audience first, and then figuring out ways to grow that audience. And that's, they're a team that does it. And I love the builders that have been here for a year and a half plus 2 years. The Liquidiums, the Fluids, the Merlins, the Emblem Vaults have been here. Plus, they started building in Counterparty, I think, in 2015, right? So they've been around forever. So I'm very happy with our builder ecosystem. Very confident in them.
It's one of the, in my opinion, it's one of the strongest. I mean, on X anyway. I mean, I was a part of a bunch of different ecosystems back to the last cycle, and nothing seems to be as strong as the one we have here in Bitcoin. But speaking of strong builders in Bitcoin, every Friday at 12:30, we like to shout out our good friends over at Emblem Vault. Emblem Vault's building some really amazing stuff, guys. They're building AI right now with the Agent Hustle. Right now, Agent Hustle is only on Solana. But Jake kind of hints to potentially on Bitcoin very, very soon, potentially within the next 6 months. Really looking forward to seeing AI hustle on Bitcoin, but he's actually doing some really amazing stuff over there. And Jake has amazing updates with that as well. But they also are building this really awesome jump feature where you can take your ordinals. Right now, you can take your Taproot Wizard from Bitcoin layer 1 and take him over to Ethereum and take a loan out on if you're interested in doing that on Gandhi, which is the biggest borrowing and lending in Ethereum. So definitely want to check that out if you're interested in that. But without further ado, let's bring up Jake. Jake, welcome back to OnChain Revolution. Thank you so much for being here, sir.
Yo, what's good, guys? Dude, always great time hanging out with you guys every Friday. Lots of updates, man. The world is changing. We've done a lot of stuff with Emblem, and just really excited to be here. I also just noticed that there's a new feature where I can stream this to my audience. So I just tried that for the first time.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, there's like a button in the top right-hand corner. So I guess I'm streaming this
from
my Twitter account as well.
Let's go.
Do it. Yeah. Love that. Love that. Yeah. I mean, you guys have been busy, man. You're kind of, you're puppeteering a lot of these, your teams. Now I feel like you have gotten the Emblem team has gotten in this really good sweet spot, right? Now you have the heads of each project really hitting stride here. The bulk minting has arrived. That's something that a lot of people have been waiting on, and is here finally. And I know that's a big relief for you. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, man. Well, first and foremost, I joined the team. Adam, I joined the team November of 2022. So we're coming up on 3 years almost here pretty shortly. I think this is the first time since I've joined the team that we have all of our developers working on individual projects that isn't unencumbered by anybody. There's no funnel, or there's no there's no holdups between any of the developers. There's no dependencies. They all can just finally continue to move forward. And so we can finally enter this Emblem 2.0 season. I mean, it's been 2 years in the making. It's been very challenging from developmental standpoint, also from business operations standpoint, human management standpoint, and also funding and business revenue, you know, in a ever-changing world, and, you know, having to kind of clean up some of the, I should say, mess, or just, you know, some of the past stuff that had happened over the 10 years at Emblem Vault, and trying to really funnel it and coordinate it into really refined projects, right? Like with keys that took like, you know, a year to really kind of plan that. Then obviously we have Agent Hustle, which launched on Pump.fun, which isn't really ideal, but I think we'll have some solutions to that pretty soon. And really, now that we have Emblem 2.0 live, finally, it's been audited, so it is secure. And we can finally move past this Emblem, you know, V1 legacy. Yesterday, we retired Emblem.finance. That was the initial or original minting platform. I actually was doing research a few years ago, and I think Emblem might be the first, or probably, I just say one of the first non-NFT marketplace or non-marketplace NFT applications. So that launched in 2020. I couldn't find any ones before that. So we finally retired Emblem Legacy. It's exit only, so you can just only unvault out of that. And then Emblem.finance has been sunsetted for Emblem Vision. And Emblem Vision's been live for a year, but, you know, unfortunately, it's really tough to break behaviors, and people continue to use Emblem.finance even though Emblem.vision has been live for a long time. So now we can finally funnel them over to Emblem Vision, where there is a bulk minting tool. And there's a thread I sent you guys. If you want to go or pull that up, we can kind of go over that. Initially, the thing that's crazy is there's been, you know, close to 100,000 vaults minted, and they've all been done one by one, which is,
oh my God,
insane. Each one, you know, each one takes 2-3 minutes. On Emblem Finance in the older days, it would take 5 to 10 minutes, right? So there's been a lot of time spent on minting these vaults. Getting to where this is today has not been easy. This is something that's never been built before in the industry. But now you can finally mint 10 vaults in a single transaction. We put 10 to start. I think there's actually, from what I hear, it's actually like nearly unlimited based on the total GUI max that you can mint. I think it gets like well into like 50 or 100, but we're going to start with 10 to kind of see where the demand is. And yeah, you just go to Emblem.vision. There's a bulk minting tool right down below. There's a video that I've put, but underneath that, we could just even go one by one. So if you click on that,
this one,
no, the one right underneath. If we just go by the slides, so click on that, right? So you just go to bulk. You click on that, and it'll open up essentially a mini app. So you could just kind of hit next on the next thread, that right underneath, I think. Yeah, right there.
What, real quick for the audience. So this is, if you go to emblem.vision, you can access this.
Yep. It's
Okay.
live today. I've tested. I've minted, I think 7 is the most that I've minted through testing. You could do it with Rare Pepe, the Koval time locks for migration. I think the majority of them, there may be some that are untested. So if anyone runs into issues, then they could just DM us. But it's pretty much there for the most part. And the great part of this is, you know, once we expand to base, once we expand to Solana and all these other things, it makes it easier for projects to migrate. So for example, the next task for the Emblem Vault side is to launch on base. And there's 2 e-scription collections that are priority, as well as I think 2 others that have requested. And they essentially just want to bridge over. They just want to leave the e-scriptions. They want to be on base permanently. So they have a collection of 10,000. And so when we deploy on base, we'll have this bulk minting tool on base. And those, you know, the MF pers and peepers, and there's a few other ones, they can just kind of move in unison in very bulk loads. And it's really works really well for a flow standpoint. And also just for an adoption standpoint, there's been some main friction. And I know this interface actually isn't an ideal. It's a little bit more complicated than I would like it to be, even though I designed it 2 years ago. So we are actually going to make a new front end that'll be AI capable. That'll probably come in like a quarter, maybe end of quarter 3, beginning quarter 4. So this will eventually be retired as well. But for now, this is where we're at, and we have the bulk minting tool. We're going to be on base and just help projects, move across chains, whether it's they want to do it permanently, whether, collectors have, a lot of crypto punks and they want to put it in some sort of yield opportunity, tokens, projects offering tokens to bring over TVL. Like there's all these different varieties, move assets into gaming worlds. And the bulk minting tool will get there, especially when we're on one final thing here is when we add our jump feature, you could be able to do like a bulk jump. So if you have like, 50 crypto punks on Solana for whatever reason, and you need to move it over to abstract for whatever reason, you can kind of just move them all over in one single transaction. So
Nice.
Ease of use, that is all coming. And this is, one of the main features there.
Gotcha. So right now it's Ethereum is the first one, right?
Yep. Yeah. Ethereum.
Okay.
Yeah. We deployed Taproot Wizards. That was a big request by Gandhi, who's the largest NFT lending platform in the industry. I don't think they're having any Taproot Wizards migrated yet, but they did say that there's other non-ETH collections that have been requested as well. So this is kind of like a proof of concept. They also support Rare Pepes and Spells Genesis and any counterparty asset actually to through Emblem Vault. And so we started there.
Awesome. All right, let's go on to the next slide here. So the first, you want to go to bulk, and then at that point, you will go to the next step.
Yep. And then you're presented with this interface. It's much more clean, much cleaner. You can actually mint one asset through this as well. So I recommend anyone to just use this. We were going to set up we were originally going to make this the main website, but we didn't want to cause people already more confusion, changing habits, and we're going to have a whole new front end, in the next few months. So we just built this as kind of a mini app, but this is very easy. So basically you come into this bulk minting mini app, you choose the collection right there. You see Rare Pepe. Since it's an ERC 1155, you choose the asset type or the asset itself, right? So Rare Pepe Lighter is the one that I chose. And then you click the quantity 1 through 10 and you click create. The loading process does take a little while. It takes like 20 seconds per vault because you have to generate a seed for each vault through LIP protocol, which is decentralized. So it takes a little bit longer, but if you're using this tool, you can leave the page, right? Once you hit create, then it's the on-chain process is started and you're good. So
You'll get a confirmation, right?
Yeah. It'll actually just go to the next page automatically. And then there's a little advanced button down there at the bottom. You could put like any non-minted vault with your token ID there, and it'll just automatically take it to step 2. There's 4 steps. This is step 1. So if you go over to the next page, you'll see the deposit page. So much easier process than when the previous process is you'd create one vault and you'd have one deposit address, and then you have to go step by step and create new vaults. This, you have all of the deposit addresses directly built into this one experience. So you just copy the address, then you go over to your Bitcoin Ordinals wallet like Xverse, you'll send in a Taproot Wizard, right? Then you'll copy the next one, you'll send in a Taproot Wizard. There's actually a copy all button at the bottom. So if you're using a multi-send tool, you can just copy all the addresses at one, put it into the multi-send tool that you're using, and then just send them all in. For Bitcoin assets, we just require 1 block confirmation. So you just have to wait 1 block. There's no PSBTs built into it, so you just need to wait, 10 minutes or so.
Yeah.
It's a security reason for that we didn't use PSBTs yet. We do have like the ability to do that, but we just haven't kind of got to it yet. So 1 block, no matter if it's a counterparty asset, an ordinal collection, or whatnot. And then once when all the assets are set or sent or received, so see where it says deposit received, because this is a screenshot before you send the asset in, it's yellow and it says waiting for deposit. So you just send the asset in, and then once the asset's received, it turns green. So pretty simple. And then you would go to the bottom and hit mint 5 vaults. This is 5 vaults. So then hit next. And then it's pretty simple. You just come to this page, you click mint 5 vaults. It'll show you that all of the assets are ready. And then it's just 2 transactions. There's a gasless transaction that gets all of the signatures for each of the vaults. And then you pay, then the next signature is the gas fee. So regardless if whether you're in the Emblem Cobalt discount program, you could be paying $8 per vault. If you're not in the discount program, then it's $20 a vault. It's just flat fixed rate across the board. We will probably do something with Keys once Keys launches, but that will be, a few months kind of from now. So you go to the next. Go ahead.
Is that the only way to get the discount program?
It's through Koval right now.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, we did that because people wanted the discount. We wanted people to migrate Koval, so kind of did 2 things in one.
Smart.
Yeah. There's really, it's crazy. So the Koval, the Koval migrators get 15% of the overall key supply. There's only been like 1,000 vaults created. So some people may end up with like 1 or 2% of the supply. And the market cap of Koval is like $1 million. So it's like literally free money there for whoever wants to.
Wow.
Take it. It's literally free money sitting there.
So it's going to be weighted across like after that last day that they can migrate over, and then weighted across the people that are there, right?
Yeah. So last private round we've done 2 private rounds for founder vaults at 6 million and 9 million FDV. We're actually talking with another platform to do the 3rd round at 12 million FDV. So that's really super underpriced, right? So if you take 15% of the supply, and you apply it to 12 million FDV, right? That's it's like 2 or 3 million FDV. So, Koval's literally, and if Koval's at 1 million, right? There's really an arbitrage opportunity right there for anyone who wants to take that. I'll start promoting it once the Koval stuff unlocks in October. So I'll probably start promoting it in like a month or 2 to have more people do it. But yeah, free money for whoever wants to take that.
Awesome.
And so you go in here, you hit mint, you sign the gas transaction, and then go to the next screen. And that's success. You're done, right? So then all 5 of them are minted. There's a button right there that says view vault. So if you want to view the vault inside see the details, you could go ahead and do that. That'll then take you to OpenSea. And you're good. The process is simple. You've minted 5. At the bottom, it says you could go back and you could start minting more if you'd like. So if you exit out of here and go to, or exit out of this full screen, go up to the very top of the thread. Since we launched this yesterday, or maybe it was from my post, you don't have to go to it. So we launched this about 24 hours ago from this time of recording. And there's been about 12 different bulk mint transactions, I believe. There's been over 100 vaults minted. So there are people using it. There's still this behavior thing that you just got to get people to use it. It's actually kind of crazy. I was looking through a lot of the minting activity, and there's people who are still doing single mint consecutively, even though the bulk button is literally right next to it.
Don't do that, guys. Don't do that.
Yeah, it's so, it's tough to beat people's old behaviors, unfortunately. Yeah. So we're going to try to do a few more things on Emblem Vision to get people's attention to say, hey, click here. This will save you literally, hours of your time. But, I guess almost 100,000 vaults minted individually. Like people have just been doing this for 5 years. So try to make it easier for everyone.
Yeah, man, and it's gonna be cool too because I kind of picture the next version of this. Right, I'm gonna go to the site. It's gonna be like, it's gonna be like Hustle. Like, what would you like to do? And you just type in, hey, bulk mint this, and he just kind of walks you through the whole entire process step by step. Right. So I think that's kind of where this is going in the future as well.
Yeah. So the reason why we're building a completely new front end is a few things. So this current front end was built by a non-Emblem developer team. It was the first front end team we had contracted 2 years ago. The library that it uses is not, I guess you would say, AI savvy. It's kind of old and deprecated. That's why it's kind of built that way. So we're basically modernizing it, building it with, integrating it with AI tooling. And yeah, we want to really have this wow factor on the next launch to where we're going to integrate Hustle. We haven't decided on if it'll be Hustle or if it'll be, whatever white label name that we come up with, depending on where things are. And he'll be able to, give you recommendations on anything Emblem Vaults and where the yield opportunities are, walk you through how to do it. And I think it'll be really cool, as well as we will be planning on integrating Hustle with all of our other things. We do have like I guess you'd say like a gamified NFT application, cross-chain application that's close to being done. We're just kind of waiting for the launch. And we plan on integrating Hustle into that as well as any other products that we build. So really, really exciting. And we've been making a lot of progress on Agent Hustle as well. We did release, actually hasn't been released. I've been teasing the testing of our conditional trading system. It's actually more like an engine because it's one engine that's custom built by us that basically is a combination of DCA tools, limit orders, copy trades. And then eventually the next stage we'll have like news-based triggers and news-based event triggers, social triggers, and kind of really anything. And so I did bring with me a little demo that we can test it out with. It's still in testing. So if it does break, like I have to say, it's not live yet, but it is very powerful. It's actually kind of one of the craziest things I've ever seen, if I'm going to be completely honest.
That's crazy to hear that from you, because you've seen some pretty crazy stuff in crypto, and to say that this is one of the craziest is pretty awesome. It's getting, the more we build with AI, the more I'm just convinced that the crypto industry is just not ready for what's about to happen. Like these AI tools are just going to completely radicalize the industry. And whenever this intelligence cycle happens and everything's normie friendly, like for example, Privy was just acquired by Stripe from what I'm hearing. Well, their last round was $200 million. So I assume probably $300-400 million is what the purchase price was. That's literally normie friendly, right? Because what Privy is log in with Twitter, log in with Apple, whatever. And we built our own through Emblem Vault. That's how you can log in to Agent Hustle with Google. So once normies are able to do that, you think about it like the intelligence cycle. They're just going to come in, sign in with Twitter, or sign in with Google, or sign in with Instagram or TikTok, and they're just going to interact with AI. And that they're going to be so familiar with it that they're not going to know any of this past trading system. So anyone in the crypto industry who's not using this stuff, you're just going to fall behind, because all of these AI tools are so powerful. It searches and finds these different types of tokens, or with Banker, it's like you're minting from the timeline, in like an automated and fast response. Or if you're Hanon, you're using web extension wallets to put like automated TA on stuff. And I just don't think the majority of people are really looking into the industry or really ready for what's about to happen over the next few years.
Yeah. Let me ask you, do you think that what you just said about AI, do you think it's going to put the everyday crypto user more on the same level with the people that use Photon and the snipers and stuff? Because they're still going to be able to compete with like AI, right? To get before them, but it's going to be more of like after the initial launch of the ones that are successful to where you can really benefit, right? I don't know. You tell me, because you're having the experience with AI right now.
Yeah, I would say it's definitely putting you on the same playing field. It's probably putting you on the same playing field as what basically Wall Street's had for a few decades, and what the crypto developers who've been building automated bots have had for 15 years or so, or maybe a decade or so. And now retail has the same access. This is kind of what our intention is with the conditional system, but on a much larger scale, right? Because what these bots have, I guess, like the bots that are built, they're one purpose, right? It's like buy Dogecoin when the Doge ticker pops up in Elon's tweet, right? Like that's kind of like a social trigger based event, but it doesn't do anything else, right? And so our goal with this is to say, you could do something like buy Dogecoin, when it drops to 10 cents or so, and then sell 50% when Elon tweets about Doge, and then sell the other 50% when it reaches $1 or something like that, right? So you can set all these like various conditions for it, which a lot of these bots can't really do. And that's kind of really the exciting part. It's going to take a little while. And I do see that. I think Banker is trying to do the same thing, as well as Hanon seems to be doing the same thing. These are the only other two teams that I've seen trying to do it. And in my opinion, those are the top two AI projects in the space. Well, DeFi AI, you obviously have like BitTensor and stuff, but from a application standpoint or an AI agent standpoint, I would say they are the top two. And so we're building the same thing. I think ours is more powerful than both of theirs.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. One last thing here is I think that you're absolutely right. The space isn't ready for what's going to happen. I'm excited to use Hustle once the conditional's out there for everybody. But the second thing too is I think there's going to be this moment when native builders like yourselves get acquired by huge Web2 brands, and the value of building is going to change in our space. And we haven't had that moment really, to where it's like acquisitions and stuff like that from huge companies. We've had it like with already big companies, but I'm talking about like kind of the grassroots builders, because that happened in Web2. Like Mark Cuban's company, for example, you know, when he built that early 2000s, it got bought for a lot, and that's what made him. And I think we'll see that here in the next couple of years with companies like Emblem and stuff. I'm not saying Emblem specifically, but possibly. Do you agree with that?
I would say, yeah, we've had this discussion internally. I would say Emblem's probably one of like 30 or 40 teams that are actually some that would probably be desirable from an acquisition standpoint. We're open to it. Preferably, I'd like to just take over the world with Emblem and be the largest company and scale it up. But whatever the opportunity presents itself, whatever that path is to get there, to become one of the most valuable companies in the industry, I'll definitely consider that and take that direction. The M&A is very interesting. I was talking about this on our show the other day. Right now, you see kind of TradFi and fintech they're buying all of the kind of entry points into the industry. So stablecoin infrastructure, wallet infrastructure, payment rails, on-off ramps, things of that nature. That's like the focal entry point to it. So how users get in and out of the space, and also stablecoin infrastructure. I suspect, maybe 2-3 years from now, TradFi and fintech will start making their way down kind of the crypto pipeline and start acquiring DeFi protocols, or I guess DeFi protocol front ends, right? I guess would be the case, because a lot of the smart contracts are decentralized. And eventually, they'll land to Emblem. So they'll probably start with like DEXs. They'll probably try to acquire centrally owned front ends like Uniswap, for example. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but that would be kind of what I assume they would look at. And then they'll kind of look into the NFT marketplace space and NFTs. And then eventually they'll make down to like the infrastructure tooling, right? Once they kind of do that. And Emblem is like a key piece of that for NFTs and eventually for AI as well. So I give it a few years. We just got to continue to grind, unless a crypto native company comes in and is, much more savvy and understanding of where Emblem's value is, or some of these other, crypto native products. They could come in and buy it, but the bigger institutions move a little bit slower. So, and they're just now at the front door, whereas a lot of these other companies have literally been building it for a while.
Yeah, 100%. And that's the thing too, is like, you're seeing the acquisition from Stripe to of a Privy, but like, it's not like the Privy team just like goes away and says, here's Privy, right? They stay on. Now they just have unlimited capital to keep building what they're already building, right? So that's one thing people don't understand. I mean, someone like Stripe, you can go to them like, hey, this is some ideas that we have, and we weren't able to do this before, but now that you guys own us, we're going to open up a whole new can of worms, right? We can go even further into what we're already building. And that's one thing people get when they say things like, oh, they sold out or they sold. No, the CEO or the top guy or the owner might kind of do his thing, and go build something else. But a lot of times they usually stay on and kind of keep building something now with so much more capital. And I can't imagine what Emblem Vault could do with a big chunk of capital.
Dude, you double our dev team and it's over, dude. We'll grow to,
just pinky in the brain at that point, taking over the world.
Yeah, I've always said, like, I think the natural size of the Emblem team would be maybe like 13 or something like that. We could hire 2 or 3 more developers. So I think if we had like 6 or 7 developers, like that'd be pretty good. Hire like maybe 1 or 2, marketing or strategy type people, and then that's really it. But if we were acquired, or if we had, large resources, I mean, we've been competing with teams who have hundreds of millions of dollars in funding and hundreds of millions of people, and we've been kind of, right there with them for the most part. And so, doubling it, you just got to be a little bit smart about it. Also, too, I've kind of recently over the last few months, I've learned a lot about, how these acquisition deals are structured from just different conversations I've had with builders. And generally, when you see an acquisition and you see a price, right, it's kind of like a sports contract. It's not fully guaranteed. And there's generally something that's called like I think it's called a workout or something like that, where it's like, okay, if this deal's, for Privy's 300 million, it'll be like, okay, these core people have to stay on the team for X amount of years, something usually between like 2 and 7 years, depending on the deal. And then it's generally like, depending on who's buying it's generally like a combination of equity, cash, and if it's a crypto company, a native token. And then the native tokens get released like over time, is kind of like a vesting schedule. Generally, the equity part of it's invested immediately. Then the rest of it invests like the longer you stay. And then obviously the cash kind of comes in. And the immediate cash is generally, 10, 20, 30% of what the actual deal is. And that's split between all the equity holders. So I think a lot of people don't really realize that. It's when somebody sees like a buyout, it's like, oh, fuck, you're an instant billionaire now. But that's usually not the case. And a lot of times, like I saw with Privy, Stripe said that Privy was going to operate under its own brand. So they're not going to basically acquire Privy, turn it into, Stripe Wallet or whatever the hell they want to call it. It's just Privy operating as its own entity. But now they do have all of the different resources, right? Because now the salaries are being paid by Stripe. Mm-hmm. And then the funding is provided by Stripe as well. So yeah, it does make you somewhat supercharged.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, supercharge, it's a perfect word for it, because now any idea that they had to put in the back burner and like, hey, we don't have the funding for this right now, or even if that is to hire a new team of devs or more devs or something like that, now it's all possible because of that backing, man. So that's something that's absolutely huge. I mean, this happens all over the Web 2 ecosystem, right? It's going to happen here as well. So we're going to see a lot of that. But what that's going to do, it's going to make our ecosystem stronger. That's going to bring more devs from the outside looking in to being like, oh, what's going on over there? Let me jump in and see if I can get a job, because you're going to see a lot of jobs being taken away from like Agent Hustle is going to take away a lot of jobs. Like AI like him is going to take away a lot of jobs. So you're going to see a lot of people kind of pick up the sticks and want to start, building the AI, because that's going to be one of the few jobs that are left until the AI can start building itself. But
you'd be shocked to know, well, probably not shocked because we talk to Jake all the time, but like to hear how many big projects in Web3 are undermanned right now. The Believe app, they have 4 people total right now. Right. So it's like you guys have like how many ever that is?
We have
like
eight team members.
Okay, 8 team members. You guys are doing so many different things, but there is you're right, Shizzy. I mean, like once you have that support of resources, that changes everything. But we got a couple questions here from the community, the audience here from Stan. He says, "Where's Emblem grabbing their computational power from? Where is the computational power going in the sense of environmental exhaustion?" And the reason why he's asking this is because it says apparently XAI is killing Memphis, Tennessee. Is there a better solution for computational power for AI? And I mean, it's the same thing as Bitcoin, right? They use those GPUs, right?
Interesting. Yeah, so this is a little bit above my pay grade, I suppose, but for Agent Hustle, I'm assuming this is kind of what he's asking. Yeah. We use OpenRouter, which is very popular within the crypto AI space. OpenRouter provides services for pretty much any agentic model and some custom offerings as well. And so then you use OpenRouter. They do take payment in crypto as well. But at the end of the day, right, all the computational power all goes back to these centralized entities. I mean, we could use Venice. We just had Think Agents team on our show recently, and they use Venice as their AI, which is Eric Voorhees's company. So, it's a time to explore that. But right now, they're all, I would say probably 100% or 99% of the AI projects in crypto are all using Open Router or using ChatGPT directly or Anthropic directly or Grok directly. And so I guess however they use the computational power, it's just centralized servers, probably not the most healthy on the environment, but you know, I don't know if Alon has like solar powers out there that are like powering his GPU clusters that they're doing or not. I assume probably not because they're in a massive competition. So the more power, the better. But yeah, we use Open Router.
Yeah, people were complaining about Bitcoin before, but I think they're going to complain about AI because everybody's going to be using it.
Well, that's like the whole thing with the tariffs and with Trump and drill baby drill is this whole idea that we need more power for AI.
Yeah, and the best part about Hustle is you can take your question stay and you can throw it in Hustle.
Yeah, there you go.
So,
I love that.
Yeah, sir. So if you guys want to share my screen, I can kind of pull up. It's a specialized testing environment that I put. I loaded it with 0.2.
Not able to do it. You able to do it, Yago?
Yeah,
mine's up.
Yeah,
all right.
There you go.
There it is.
Yeah, I loaded it with 0.2 Sol. So here I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. So if it feels scrunch, that's because I'm literally zooming in the screen. So we have something here, right? It's called conditional. And so basically you're gonna have to come in here. Oh, it's probably loading. Yeah, so it's loading. Once I do a condition, then it'll load. So basically we'll do something fun. So right now the conditions are basically stop losses, take profits, DCA, and then various types of limit orders. But the cool thing is that you can really combine it all together. So you could do something like show or give, or let's see, find a token, or find, I guess you'd say the most opportunistic token that was launched within the past 7 days that has 2x potential with 1,000 holders and let's see, has memetic value. Purchase that token with 0.05 Sol and then set a stop loss at 15% below the price that, I guess, entry price, below the entry price, and a take profit at 100%. Right, so you could do stuff like this. So he's literally going to find a token, he'll buy a token, and then he'll set a stop loss and a take profit. We also we did some recent updates, so he's actually a lot faster than he used to be. So if you notice that, he is moving, a little bit more kind of quickly. I'm gonna zoom this in just a little bit more again so you can see. So he's kind of going through his process, right? Because I said find a token with 2x potential, it needs 1,000 holders, memetic value or memetic theme. So he says he's identified something called War of Titans as a promising token that meets the criteria that could potentially 2x. So now he's kind of going through the tokens and he's going to do another verification to make sure that it meets everything that we've put that's in the number one looking for. And then once he validates that the token is something that fits all of those criteria, then he's going to go ahead and set the stop loss and the take profit. And on the left-hand side, it'll show up as a conditional trade. And so this is what internally we like to call this AFK trading, which is just away from keyboard trading, because once he's finding tokens and you have a stop loss and a take profit set, then you just basically let the trade live out. You could go touch grass. You don't have to worry about managing the position. And
no emotions too, right? Like I'm not sitting there. Dude, I just,
you don't know how many people are going to use this for spot trading. I'm not joking. I'm being dead. I'm going to use it. Like if I can, and I know it's not going to hit perfect every time. So like, for example, like if I can make between $150 to $200 a day and go do my thing, like, why wouldn't I do that? Right. And if I hit 5 out of 6 times I request that, that's a side hustle.
That's a 90%
Literally.
win rate, bro.
That's a side hustle.
So there was actually a project that just launched recently called Protocol Hunter. I forget what the token name is. They launched a token on Pump.fun as an investment DAO, and they're using Agent Hustle as basically the stock picker, right, or the token picker.
Yeah.
For RWAs specifically.
ICM. It was actually around the internet capital markets as well.
Yep.
So that was one I was asking you about the other day. Like you didn't realize that they were going to use Hustle, right? And like that's awesome that they integrated Hustle into that.
Yep. So the conditional trade should be showing up here on the left-hand side shortly. We got an error here. This is a demo. It looks like he said that he did accomplish it. So let me summarize what we've accomplished. So this is War on Titans. So this is the chart. It looks like. So it doesn't even look like a good chart, to be honest. But we are having a little bit of an error. It does seem, unfortunately. Let me refresh the page and see if it shows up. So to see if you set the conditional trade. This is still in development. Yeah. I did just get this back. Oh, it is failing. That's kind of annoying. Let me see if he shows.
While you're trying to figure that out, looks like Stan asks, are web services like AWS or Google needed for Emblem?
No, we don't use cloud services. So let me see. So he's checking his error. This is the cool thing. It looks like there was a service that was down. Unfortunately, the conditional trading service is currently experiencing technical difficulties. I know our developer is working on it right now. So I wonder if this system went down yesterday when the Cloudflare outage happened. So I wonder if this is related to that, because Hustle was down most of yesterday when that happened. But that's related to Open Router, which is related to I think Cloudflare that does a lot of these. So I think this kind of goes back into the question of what I didn't catch the name, was asking if Emblem themselves, like Emblem Vault, we don't use cloud services. We do use right. Sam Altman has unlimited resources for Web2 AI. Where does the guest envision Web3 AI as a competitor or a partner? I would say it's probably a competitor, to be honest. I assume that eventually OpenAI and ChatGPT will kind of get into the same space. They're kind of circling the wagon and getting tangentially.
You think they'll get specialized? I would think they would stick to generalized.
It's possible.
Yeah.
But so we had the Think Agent guys on, and they basically made it say that, or they basically had the thought that it's a high competition, and that it's against essentially OpenAI, XAI, because these are all central entities. They control all your data, so anything you put into the prompt, right, they can have access to. So they're basically farming all of your data to then use and build better things. You do have Meta and DeepSeek from China that are open sourcing all their stuff to try to compete with them. And then obviously in the crypto space, you have Venice, which is very Eric Voorhees saying, which is all private. So all the data that you kind of put in inside of Venice is private. I don't know what type of technology they use, but to ensure that it's not used, because the fear, right? The issue with sorry, I was reading some messages. So the issue with ChatGPT and these AI products right now is anything you put into the box, anything private, they can use. So all of these developers who are vibe coding, right, they have access to all that code, so they can build like a fucking.
That's true.
a super giant app, right? They know all your personal information. I don't know if you saw the thing with Facebook yesterday or Meta where they were like posting private messages of people publicly on like stories, and like one of the messages was like this guy who's like, he's like, I'm 66. I need to go to like what countries like older white men, right?
Got him.
And they were like posting this publicly, right? So you have that type of like really, private
Was it
stuff.
an accident? Obviously, it was an accident,
Well,
right? Like,
that's a lot. That's a huge lawsuit, right?
It is. It was part of like a marketing campaign or something. I don't know. I just saw like people posting about it.
That's crazy.
Right. So that kind of fear is right. So that kind of fear is real. It's very, very real. Let me post. So since this isn't working, since it is down, let me show you guys. Let me post a demo from a video when it was working the other day.
Okay.
I'll put it in the private chat so we could kind of talk through it. So
sounds good. All right, I can share that.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have to talk with devs right after this on it. So we're still with the conditional stuff. We're still working through it. Solana, very difficult. So bankers conditional stuff is on base. They actually use cow swap. So cow swaps like kind of built that already. So we're kind of building this all customized, and just got a lot of kinks. But this post that I showed, this is when it was working.
Do we need? Do you want me to add volume to this?
No volume. Just make it full screen.
Why can't I pause it?
Just make it full screen. It's fine. I can talk through it. So we just got this yesterday or 2 days ago. So you see it here on the left-hand side, the conditional trade, right? That's kind of what the order is. So on the right-hand side, the message was, here, let me see. So the message on the right-hand side was,
it doesn't show it.
It said find a token with 2x potential, buy it, set a stop loss at 15%, and take profit at 100%. And so there on the screen on the left hand side, you see that you see the entry price, where it shows 0.001306, and then on the right hand side, there's a stop loss and take profit. You can actually open it, and it kind of opens up all the details. So we are working out. We've updated that since this post. And kind of working through really how to organize all this, because there's so much stuff that's happening and to really control it. And this is going to replace our current limit order system and our current DCA system, which is really, really cool. So really here on the frontier of what's being built, everyone kind of gets to see under the hood of what's going on. I think there was one other one that I could kind of share.
Was it on your thing?
Yeah, it's on. It was on my feed. I just post so much. It's hard to kind of follow all this stuff. Let's see if I could find it.
I have your feed up here.
Yeah, here. I'll post this one so people can actually see it in action here. Let me post that there.
Okay.
So you can use that one. And I'll kind of talk through how it all works. X has been slow recently. So with this one, that's the prompt actually. I said set a conditional trade to buy Tensor when it dips 20% using 0.001 SOL with a take profit at 2x the current price and a stop loss, right? So there's kind of three things that's happening here. He basically, right, I'll help you set up a conditional trade with Tensor. So he found the price, then he finds the entry price. You might need to hit play. And so he basically sets a stop loss for it, right? So when Tensor drops 20%, he sets a stop loss. Tensor drops 20%, he buys it. And then once the token is bought, he then sets a stop loss and a take profit for the token. So there's essentially three different types of orders happening. There's a limit order being placed initially. Then once the limit order is hit, then the token is acquired, and then there's a stop loss and take profit that is placed. And so these things are even kind of cool, right? So like with this type of situation, So with this type of situation, let's say you like Fartcoin and the market's selling off or something like that. You could say, buy Fartcoin at 15% below the current market price, and then, set a stop loss at 400 million.
30%
Yeah,
lower than
30%.
that.
Or you could do market caps. You could say, so let's say Fartcoin's at $1 billion. You could say buy Fartcoin at $500 million market cap. Once a token's bought, set a stop loss at $300 million market cap, or to set a take profit at $2 billion market cap. And from there, then Fartcoin is sold for a SOL if it drops to 300 million, or it's sold for SOL when it hits 2 billion. So you get like a 4x, right? Or you get a, minus 40% trade, and you never have to worry about it ever again. And it just kind of sits there.
Yeah. And, because you're not using leverage, this is spot trading, but you're taking that conservative or like disciplined, I should say, leverage approach, right? For a trade from a trader perspective, I think like you have more opportunity here if you're, confident in your skill set to, I think like really end up on top, because like you set your stop losses for that minimal gain, or minimal loss, I should say. And then you keep doing that until you make that profit that you want. Obviously you got to be disciplined and have a good plan with that, but you can do that while you're out because you don't have to worry about anything else. Right. So that's awesome.
That's the dream, man. And then eventually adding news and social triggers. I think this is kind of where it gets wild. I assume probably a few other projects are thinking about this, where you could say, I'll stick with kind of the Fartcoin example. You could say buy Fartcoin when Dip Wheeler, who's like the biggest kind of Fartcoin bull, right? Whenever he posts 30 times in a day or something like that, right? Or whenever he posts generational bottom picture next, right? Because that's kind of what he does. Or you could do things like, news-based events. I use the sports book one because it's super interesting, because we want to integrate Polymarket. So once we integrate Polymarket, you could say take a futures bet out on the Denver Broncos and hold the position until they win 9 games or Bo Nix gets injured and leaves the game, right? So you have kind of 2 different triggers on that. You have him market buying futures bet for the Broncos, and then his 2, I guess you call sell conditions, is a market-based one, win 9 games, right? Or a social trigger, or you call it newsworthy trigger, of the quarterback of the team getting injured. And so then basically he pulls the information whenever that's announced. He probably would go monitor the Denver Broncos website. And whenever the Denver Broncos website or Twitter account or whatever he's monitoring says Bo Nix is injured, he sells the position.
Wow,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
If that
would you able to do something like on a sense of like X, like, hey, whenever a token gets over 1,000 mentions or 10,000 mentions, can you buy it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Or if it drops under 10,000 within this hour, sell it. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, it all comes down to API integrations. So it's like right now we have Lunar Crush integrated. So Lunar Crush does this like social tracking for different types of things. So I didn't even think of that example. So you could say, you could tell Lunar Crush buy dog when the social engagement or I guess social interactions drops below 30,000 in a day, and then sell it when the dog social engagement posts are over 100,000, right? So you're trading social sentiment now, or social posts.
That could win like 100% like all the time, honestly, because like people are typing the hashtag dog when the numbers go up, when the candles are going up, right? And then they're stopping when you get some red candles. So potentially that could be one of the best conditional trades you can make.
That's actually I honestly didn't even consider that. That's probably an example I'm gonna have to use more. There's the cool thing like with this idea and with building this is that there's literally probably hundreds of thousands of these different types of things you could do, from, something Trump says in a speech to, the amount, you could tie it to the amount of meme coins being launched on Pump.fun. So you could say something like, market buy Sol, and then when Pump.fun has over 100,000 tokens launched in a day, then sell Solana, right? Or something like that.
It comes down to what Adam says. What's the prompt, bro? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, what's the
Well,
conditional trade, bro? Like,
I don't even want to know how crazy it'll get once they integrate perps. You'd be like, hustle as soon as Trump says tariff increase, then take the large short.
That's what, and that's what this
2,000% profit take. No, I'm just kidding.
and that's what this conditional system is. It's an engine, so it'll basically be able to. We could basically integrate perps into it. We can integrate obviously the copy trade thing we will still want to do. Any type of financial instrument can be integrated, and at the end of the day, our backend is just this is a market order, and accessing different types of systems. I think maybe by the end of the decade, this type of trading will be much more common. There's going to be an AI integrated into all DEXs, all NFT platforms. You already see now a lot of the data aggregators like Nansen and Zip, or I forget what the other one is. There's like 3 or 4 of these like big data aggregators that all have AI agents where you just use an AI agent to query their different type of information. But for trading, I think it's going to make charts and TA obsolete by the end of the decade. Because if you're trading social sentiment, like in the dog example, like you're not looking at a financial chart. TA doesn't matter in that situation. And so you're going to create the whole new dynamic of trading style that TA does not apply to.
But market makers are definitely going to be like trying to figure out their new. I mean, it's because like obviously you still have to be disciplined with using AI to execute these things for you and know something about this, right? But I still think that market makers are going to try to figure things out because they always want to try to wreck the.
well, they'll have their own
space. Yeah,
they'll use AI hustle too,
Yeah.
and say, hey, where are these traders making money at? And it's like, oh, the conditional trading, they're trading on X, and they're just like, okay, we'll do the opposite. That's what market makers do, right?
They do. They're ahead of the game. That's like what quants are. So like, I would say over the last like 2-3 months, we've had a handful of AI VCs reach out to us about agent hustle. Most of them being kind of liquid funds for the token, but I've learned that most of them, at least the large ones, they all have their own internal AIs that they use for signals and for trading and stuff. So they were interested in integrating hustle from like I guess you call it a pocket quant standpoint, where it's just like he knows all the information and he's very into the crypto industry. They're not using him for trading. They're actually just using him for data aggregation because they already have their own kind of financial tools and AI agents that are doing their types of trading and stuff like that. And so, yeah, it's going to get wild because everyone's going to be on the same playing field and we're just going to continue to grow. Like for agent hustle, once we get the conditional thing fully tested and operational, that's going to go live. And then we have our subscription service that's going to go live as well. We have been getting a lot more outreach from developers who want to build a white label agent hustle. So that subscription is really important so that we can, start generating revenue, which then can, some of that can be applied back to the token value. We do have an announcement for Agent Hustle near the end of the month that we haven't shared yet. So that'll be something that's, going to be interesting and people should pay attention to. And then after that, it's about, for us, expansion and optimizing Hustle. One of our community members gave us like a full write-up on some UI improvements that we're going to do for the mobile perspective, which was really nice. Those type of community members who actually like give you solutions to the problems that they're identifying is really helpful than just shouting when marketing 24/7, right? Like that doesn't really do anything. Or, complain about token price. Like it doesn't really do anything.
But it's fun, Jake. It's fun.
It's fun, right? I've been in that position before.
Yeah. Real quick, we do have a comment. It says, "Yo, Jake, I think I realized something today. I can put any amount of Pepe Cash into one vault, like 100,000 PC into one, and list that. Thanks."
Yep.
He said, "Oh, and this is Memecoins, by the way."
He's an OG, man, huh?
I got to meet him in Vegas, which was pretty cool. Yeah, you can vault as many as you'd like. You got to use the counterparty collection. It's literally called counterparty. That's the emblem collection that you can store any amount or any counterparty assets uncategorized. So just go click on counterparty collection, literally called that again. And yeah, you could store whatever you want. You could put 100,000 Pepe Cash, Nakamoto card inside, whatever the hell you kind of want to. That's what it's for. Yeah, so that's really cool. I got to hang out with Memecoin, really, really cool guy. But with where everything's going, it's a lot to look forward to. Finally, we do want to expand and kind of be the AI for Bitcoin. Obviously, a handful of meta protocols have reached out to us and talked to me in person in Vegas about integrating their meta protocol into Agent Hustle. And that's something we really intend to do as the other projects kind of focus on EVM. It is nice, to be on Base and to be on Sonic and obviously Hyperliquid. But there's now 5 or 6 teams that are all kind of competing for that, where we have the expertise, we have the community, and we have the knowledge on how to build on the Bitcoin ecosystem. So I think it's there for, us to kind of, champion the Bitcoin industry and apply this same type of conditional system to runes. So once this is live, this is available to any blockchain, to any ecosystem. So you could do this with native runes. You could do this with Arch. You could do this with Alkanes. You could do this with Counterparty, depending on the APIs. But for the most part, that'll be completely available. So stop losses and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think Hustle, this is going to be a bold statement. I think it's true. The Hustle and this style of new product is going to put bots out of business. And it's because you can customize any prompt, right? Like anything you want. With the bots, you have to pre-configure them. Yeah, they have settings you can tweak, but why do I want to mess with settings manually with my mouse and stuff when I can just type what I want, And so I think bots are going to go out of business shortly after this. And I'm glad that like OnChain Revolution is on the forefront of this, because once conditionals open, I'm going to start doing some like nighttime session stuff with our community members, teaching them and learning myself, and really because I think this is going to be a big part of the Hustle product suite that are offering, I guess I should say. And it's really going to work in with that token mechanism. And at that point, the product will be so good that like the token, it won't matter. You won't ask when price go up, because price will stabilize, I think, at that point.
Yep. Yeah. I think our announcement at the end of the month for the token, I think will probably reignite a lot of energy in the ecosystem. It's been kind of a long time coming. And then from there, right, the subscriptions, you want to, buybacks are really popular. So you want to be able to generate revenue to do that type of thing. Obviously you can't do that when it's free. So we do have people in our community shouting when tokenomics every day. So it just, it comes with time. But, regardless if you're using Hustle or using any of these other ones, it's just best for anyone listening to really just use these things. Like, you definitely do not want to fall behind, and you definitely want to be with the AI. I mean, kind of my last point here is, I've been in the industry for 9 years now, and every time there's something new that happens, there's a portion of the OGs who fail to adopt it, and they just become maxis because they don't know how to do it. Like, to me, there's this very large divide line between the people who participate in NFTs and the people who didn't. Like, there was a lot of the OGs and Bitcoin people who, they went from Bitcoin to ETH, and then they went from ETH to DeFi, and then they just never went from DeFi to NFTs. And NFTs is where this whole social revolution happened with crypto as well. And because they didn't participate in NFTs, they don't know anything about the culture, which therefore then the NFTs didn't lead them to meme coins, and then meme coins, lead you to AI essentially, because that's kind of what it was with AI meme coins. And so you just kind of miss everything, and you just kind of become the old man who yells at clouds, unfortunately. And so you don't want to be that person. And so just at least know how to use it. And just prepare for, when this does become, when every protocol does have this adopted, whether they have their own native one, or they're using Agent Hustle, or you're just using Agent Hustle for everything generalized. Be on the frontier.
Yeah. Well, we actually need old men yelling at clouds, because they actually become our exit liquidity, right? Like Peter Schiff now buying Bitcoin, right? So he's becoming a lot of people's exit liquidity as he's coming in. But it's been absolutely amazing, Jake, man. Really appreciate you giving us this time. And any last words?
Yeah, sorry that the demo didn't work. Again, just received that less than 48 hours ago. We're still working through a lot of the kinks for that, but once it is, fully tested, then it'll be live, as well as we continue to build that. And then don't sleep on Emblem. We do have the Keys TGE that's happening in about 3 months from today. I think it's like around Bitcoin block 915,000. So I think it's like September 15th, 16th, something like that. So you'll start seeing a lot more promotion around Keys and Emblem now that the whole ecosystem is there, and we're officially into the next chapter after 9 years of history. Emblem 2.0 season is here. So any questions, always feel free to reach out to me, or just hop into our Discord or Telegram, or just tag me on Twitter and I'll respond. Until then, dude, always a great time talking with you guys, and I'll see you guys soon.
Sounds good.
See you,
Have a good weekend.
See ya.
Absolutely amazing, as always, to have Jake here, man. Really appreciate giving us, our audience, the time, guys. You guys are on the forefront of something special, and that's what we think Agent Hustle is, and that's why we do this every Friday with Jake, to make sure that our community always wins. We appreciate. We had 699 people on. I just want to wait like one more second to hit 700. We're at 699. Go on, one more. But we appreciate all you guys, man, on YouTube and X, not to mention everyone on Twitch, Rumble, Kick, Jake's X. Shout out to everyone watching from Jake's X and Abstract, and Spotify will be uploading over there later today. Appreciate every single one of you guys, man.
Absolutely, guys. And just remember, we're lucky to be here. Lucky a little bit, but at the same time, you put the effort into showing up and learning, and we're about to jump into a whole new system, financial system, and you're learning about that, and you get the early education on that. So we appreciate each and every one of you. Just like Shizzy said, without you guys, we wouldn't be able to do the show every single day, Monday through Friday. But also without our partners, we couldn't do it as well. So if you could give them a little attention, we would greatly appreciate that. Sats Terminal is the aggregator DEX for the Bitcoin ecosystem. They are aggregating from all the most liquid DEXs in the ecosystem. So if you're going to swap for runes, you got to do it at satsterminal.com. They're going to find the most liquid and most best price token for you there. You can swap for Doggo to the Moon, Billion Dollar Cat, all the popular runes, and you can actually swap for alkanes now. They support alkanes because they said we want to support what the community wants, and that's what the community asked for, right? So make sure you're heading over to satsterminal.com. If you're going to connect your wallet for the first time, you get 1,000 Amber points. The Amber points are going to go to something that has to do with alpha in the future, a reward type of mechanism. That's where I'll leave that. But make sure you're heading over there and join their Discord and their community. Great team, friendly. If you have any questions, ask them straight up. Head over to their website, satsterminal.com. And then the BetBTC platform is the predictions marketplace for the Bitcoin ecosystem. Maybe Hustle can connect with BetBTC in the future there. But right now, you can actually utilize their platform. All you need is Bitcoin, a Bitcoin wallet, and 6 Bitcoin blocks, and you can start placing bets in their blitz markets. Their 10-minute blitz markets are markets that are kind of like a quick little fun way to do leverage and perps type of situation, but you don't have to get all complicated with it. You actually pick Bitcoin, BNB, or Solana, and you get 10-minute time frame to select that price you want it locked in. You can either pick it to go up or down, and then you get an additional 10 minutes to see if you're correct or incorrect on that prediction there. But yeah, there's gonna be future features like create your own markets. You can earn 1.5% of the total volume. So if you have a good following, that's big, possibly big money there, as well as refer a friend. You can earn 1%. We've been able to see under the hood, guys, of what's coming. So stay tuned with this team. Make sure you're following them. Join their Discord and their community as well. If you have any questions, head over to betbtc.win today. And then Emblem Bot, we just talked to Jake for about an hour, dove into what they have to offer. They are the interoperability tooling, the bulk mint tooling, and the jump tooling for the Bitcoin ecosystem ordinals. You're going to be able to take your frogs, your node monks, your taproot wizards to Ethereum, use Gandhi to take a loan out against them, stuff like that. Abstract's going to be a big area, Base, Merlin, and eventually Solana. And of course, they're open to other ecosystems as well in the future. You're going to be able to utilize Agent Hustle to help you do this as well once they integrate the Bitcoin tech stack into Hustle. But right now, you can use Hustle for getting through the trenches of Solana. We just kind of showed you that demo, and I can't wait till the conditional option is there because I'm going to be utilizing that a lot. For me, sometimes I get stuck into the emotions of trading sometimes, and this right here takes all of that away, and that's what I need. I need to go relax while Hustle's working for me. But you can test Hustle out right now at agenthustle.ai for free, but eventually there's going to be a business model that wraps their token into it. And so try it out now. See if this is something for you. I love using Hustle for a research tool, a research assistant, getting through the jungles of Solana myself. But also don't forget about their TGE with their Bitcoin rune. That's going to be coming out in September or October-ish, I should say. You can actually participate in a pre-sale environment if you head over to OpenSea right now and search Emblem Founder Vault Keys. It is an ERC 721, so it's an NFT right now. But once we get to the TGE date, they're going to give you instructions on how to get those Bitcoin runes into your Bitcoin wallet. Make sure you head over to emblem.vision today to learn about all of their products in their complete product suite there. And then Artura.finance is the perps and leverage DEX of the Bitcoin ecosystem. They're about to launch on Botonics, the Spider Chain, Bitcoin Layer 2. Shortly after that, they're going to be launching on Hemi, Bitcoin Layer 2, backed by Binance Labs. The Botonics launched. I think there's going to be a really good opportunity for a co-promotion, give back to the users that utilize the platform there. I think it's going to happen on both sides, but we'll see if that's true. We do know that Artura is going to have some sort of XP dashboard, so make sure you're utilizing that. You're going to be able to trade synthetic fungible tokens from Bitcoin, right? So Dog Go to the Moon, $1 Billion Cat, Ordi, Sats, and eventually, possibly Alkanes if they want to support that. They talked about having an open mind for that. But you're going to be able to trade the traditional tokens as well outside the ecosystem, XRP, Tau, Ethereum. Let's say you don't want to trade, you're not a trader, you don't want that kind of risk in your life, then you can participate in their liquidity vaults to kind of help make the platform more formidable, right? You can earn passively that way. But if you head over to Artura.finance, you can dive into their docs, learn about their entire platform. If you have any questions, head over to their Discord as well. They have some experienced traders over there as well that can kind of give you some tips to get started. Head over to Artura.finance today. And then Fluid tokens are the UTXO Wizard devs, the first to offer retail staking vaults on Bitcoin Layer 1. It's amazing. If you participated in that Dog Season 2 staking campaign, make sure you claim your dog. You can claim it right now. You could, claiming's been open for about 2 weeks. What you need to do is head over there, you claim it, and you get your original dog plus your rewards in one transaction. If you want to create a staking vault because you are a founder and you have an established community, head over to their Discord. They have a team waiting to answer your questions and on how to get a staking vault created for your community there. If you want to use their airdrop tool, head over to their website, fluidtokens.com, go to the Bitcoin side, click on the airdrop tab there. You can actually upload a CSV file that's either a Google Sheets file or an Excel file that has all of the addresses pre-populated on there, or you can do it manually one by one. But it's really efficient, and it's cost efficient as well. It's pretty cheap to do it. So you can airdrop using that tool. On the Cardano side, if you want to participate and earn Babel fees, you could do so by going on their Launch Cardano side and going to the Aquarium platform there, and you can participate that way. Head over to fluidtokens.com. You can check out both sides there and join their community. They are an awesome, friendly team there. And then a Tokyo wallet is the multi-chain smart wallet that supports Cardano and Bitcoin, and more ecosystems to come in the future. If you have an iPhone, head over to the Apple App Store, download the app. If you have an Android, head over to Google Play, download it, test it, try it out. Let us know your feedback. You can swap for SNEC on the Cardano side as they partnered with their lead aggregator on the Cardano side, or you can swap for Dog Go to the Moon as they partnered with Sats Terminal to help you swap there directly in the app. You can find Alpha as well. We're actually there in the Alpha section along with Cryptos R Us and other YouTubers as well. Really cool that they added that. They want to make the best UI and one-stop shop for everybody. So let us know if there's a feature you want added there. Also, they're going to have a really cool opportunity for toke holders. So make sure you follow them on X and you're up to date on all their announcements there. Head over to Tokyo.io today. And then Merlin Chain has been crushing it lately. They're uniting Bitcoin strength with the power of AI with their Wizard 0.03 AI tool. Guides you through Merlin Chain's ecosystem, can swap for you, can stake for you. There's an agent tab at merlinchain.io, and you can learn more about the wizard there. But going to the staking side, there's two different options for you to participate in the proof of stake. There's the flexible option, which is a day-to-day. Now, just know after you do deposit into the staking, if you want to withdraw, there is a 7-day period for the flexible. But it is a 15% APR that you earn there. And it is Merlin Chain tokens that you can stake there. For the bonded, it's the longer locked up 6-month period. But you earn 45% APR, and you can actually withdraw rewards on a daily basis in that system. So check that out. Help secure the chain if you want to participate in that, but dive into their docs about staking so you can learn more there. This team's been crushing it, with their branding. They got listed on the roadmap for being listed in spot for Kraken. They're on Binance Alpha and Binance Perps. They're a part of the Wrapped Bitcoin DAO. They're making big moves, guys. So make sure you check them out at merlinchain.io. And our integrated partners are Jungle, which was formerly Foxy AI, building the metaverse on Bitcoin called the Bitverse, and the first-person shooter game called Cypher Striker. And Ordinal Hive is the aggregator Ordinal Marketplace, doing something similar to Sats Terminal, but with Ordinals. And don't forget, you can check out their trader tools on their platform as well. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us for 2 hours and 45 minutes, all 709 of you.
Wow, man, we're having that 3-hour mark. Crazy. Look at quick at the comments. Coach Cash Cat's still hanging with us. Appreciate you, my friend. But if you guys have a few more minutes, wouldn't mind checking out OnChainRevolution.io. We have some of the best articles dating all the way back to 2023. If you know somebody just entering the space, please send them our website. We really feel like it can help them get started and get caught up to where we are today. Brand new Alkane's post, guys. Go check this out. It's all about the WASM smart contracts and basically giving you a nice explainer of what is going on in that ecosystem. Go check that out as soon as possible. And if you need a VPN, we have NordVPN. It's the number one VPN that I use. I use it every single day. I do not go to websites with my IP hanging out. It's not something I want to do. It's nothing you want to see. Don't do it. Actually, go check out everything at this Nord. Make sure you guys using our link though. Because I have people saying, "Yo, I got the VPN. I didn't use your link." Well, you're not getting the discount. The discount is 70% off. It's huge. So you can lock in 2 years for $62 by using our link. Check that out there. If you guys need merch, we're going to be adding new merch this weekend. If you guys want us to add something, yo, Shizzy, I want a Gizmo shirt, or I want this, I want that. Can you guys make a punk shirt? We can make anything. Just let us know. We can add it to our store, and then you guys can come here and check it out. Just let me know exactly. You can DM me at Shizzy on Chain, and I can do whatever you guys need me to do. I can add anything to these markets. If it's your personal project and you want me to add it to the shirts and jackets and stuff, we can do anything, guys. Anything. Just let us know. But go check out OnChainRevolution.io. And guys, we are live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Pacific, and 3 p.m. UTC. Check us out all week, guys. Until tomorrow.
Peace.
OnChain Revolution roll call. Market recap. You're not bullish enough. No. You're not bullish enough. No. Look at the price go. Bitcoin control. Why you still coping? Price action rolling. Don't fall for bear trap. Swapping indexes and putting it up in the sex. I can take profit right now. OnChain is where I be now. You can never look back. They don't want you to know. How did the market react? Fear and greed gotta adapt. Now we bridging the tokens and arching the network right now. You know how crazy we are. Nookies are savages now. They know how crazy we are. Chain abstraction, main attraction. OnChain Revolution.